champ is here!
It's just a man!
Give me a hell yeah!
What the Rock is cooking.
To be the man, you have to be the man! Big Papa Pump! And you hooked up!
Fallen!
Holla! And the air!
Woo, woo, woo!
Cup of coffee in the big day.
It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Famcast Media proudly brings to you the latest edition of Working the Marks, and we got a jam-packed panel here this evening. I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, Fernando Uribe, and joining me here is the talent, Tyler Taylor, all the way down in the great state of Florida. Of course, we got Macho Rodriguez, proud Puerto Rican and lover of fat girls everywhere out in PA. And of course, for his final appearance here on Working the Marks, we got the body, Patty Rican here, joining us here. Folks, sharing is caring. Hit the share button and let everybody you know online, and really let them know that how much you enjoy Working the Marks here via Famcast Media. Shout out to our amazing executive producer, D. Rotten. D, please trim that beard. I was alarmed when I saw you online the other day.
Why are you always so concerned with how other men look?
I'm just, as a guy who has a nice
Hans, okay, but just let him deal with it on his own.
Beard. I like to make sure everyone's good.
Maybe he wants to look like fucking Hillbilly Jim. Leave him alone.
Maybe.
Why you always got to start shit for him?
Nah, bro. He's got to be Haystacks Calhoun.
That's terrible.
By the way, I have an announcement to make at the end of the show, but we'll do the show. It's a very
I'm gonna release some footage. I'm
actually releasing some footage first. You're beating me to it.
Macho, you promised not to release that.
In any event, guys, it's Wednesday here, the 10th of April, and folks, WrestleMania 40 is coming on. Arguably the greatest WrestleMania by every metric: attendance, gate, looking at views on Peacock. I mean, it's just been absolutely incredible, really over the last weekend, really starting Friday night with the SmackDown Go Home show, the Hall of Fame ceremony, which I thought was really riveting. Obviously, NXT Stand and Deliver did exactly that. It delivered. And certainly the two nights of WrestleMania and Monday Night Raw from the Wells Fargo Center in the shithole of North America, folks, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But I got to tell you, a great weekend. Guys, before we get to sort of breaking down both nights of WrestleMania, what stood out for you from the 40th?
Well, I mean, obviously, it would have to be Damian Priest cashing in because I think we all thought the same thing. He was going to fail. That's kind of what the consensus was. He had less than 90 days to cash that in. I mean, as I threw in the chat today, it seems like it was booked for 6 months. That they knew this was going to happen, as they're always ahead of us. That stood out to me. I really enjoyed Rhea and Becky's match. Bayley and Io, that was almost a double turn to me. The way Io looked in the match, the maneuvers that she started putting out there, that like the acrobatics that she used in the match, I really felt like the crowd was really behind her. It was almost like, oh shit, like we're here singing Bayley's music, but here we go, man. We really love Io. I thought that really stood out, but I mean, the MVP, man, The Rock, he was the MVP of WrestleMania. I can't even. There's nobody that comes close to me. Nobody. I mean, Roman did his best over the past 4 years to build someone. We got Cody. He built him. He got him. We had the classic WrestleMania smile. We had the one with Sasha with Bianca. We had the one with Charlotte with Rhea, and now the one with Roman with Cody. So that was great.
I got a book right here. See what I just did? I finished the story. All right.
Ooh!
Let me tell you something. The MVP of WrestleMania is Cody Rhodes. All right.
Oh,
Cody Rhodes. That's right. Because Cody Rhodes had his coronation. He had his big moment finally. And what a payoff. What a fucking payoff we got finally for this amazing angle. Arguably one of the greatest angles, maybe the greatest angle of all time. I mean, we didn't get a 97 Starrcade here, folks. We got a real good, star-studded, legendary, memorable payoff. And at the end of it all, Cody Rhodes, with his hand raised in victory, I told y'all. Cody was going to finish the story, and Cody finished the story.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've had that much fun watching wrestling. I stayed awake through the full of both shows, which, if you know me, that's a miracle. I got to give the MVP to Seth because, man, that guy took a beating to just progress everything. It was just a lot of fun. I would put it on probably in the top 5 of Manias of all time.
Tyler,
There were
Tyler, when you
very
mentioned
few misses.
Tyler, when you mentioned this is the most fun you've had watching wrestling, I mean, I would hope so. I mean, you're an AEW fan. I mean, you haven't really had much to cheer for in the last few years. So
I mean, I watched both.
Did you think I was going to let that go?
Listen, I got a couple questions about your Instagram, so we'll get to that later. But
Okay, cool. Guys, listen, let's get right to the card here. In no particular order, but on night one, Rey Mysterio and Andrade filling in for Dragon Lee against Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. Listen, I got to tell you, when it comes to building new Hispanic Latino stars, I think that they've been doing that or attempting to do that for quite some time. Obviously, they knew that Rey's going to have an expiration date at some point. With his son, certainly with Santos, I think, who's been a much better heel than a babyface. Certainly Andrade getting put into his first WrestleMania. Good match overall. I think it was entertaining. I think a lot of us were a little down on this match, like, should it be on the card? I don't know. It certainly exceeded a lot of people's expectations. It was a great payoff, I thought. I could do without the Philadelphia Eagle players jumping in there, but whatever, it's fine. It's WrestleMania. It went over book stuff, so be it. A great win by the baby faces, and again, it just kind of reminds us that it almost seems like Dominic and Rey, where Dominic retires him, is probably inevitable. I don't know when, but it seems like it's building towards that, guys.
Absolutely. I've been saying it for quite some time on this here program that I'm about to be leaving. And I genuinely feel that this is just such a tremendous way to turn Dominic face in the long run, because Dominic's going to turn face. The crowd is into him, and I think inevitably Dominic will turn face. And I think when he beats Rey and he retires Rey, it's going to be a very emotional moment, and I think that's what's going to turn him face.
Ooh, I can hear you breaking up just talking about it. Yeah.
But you mean like a baby face, like
that?
Retired Flair, like baby face and baby face, or
no. I think Dom's going to go in a heel, and he's going to be turned by the time the match is done.
I hope not.
I think so. Dominic Mysterio has big time star potential, big time. And I think when the physique catches up with him,
more than Hook,
and he fills out, I think we're looking at like a bona fide main eventer. And I could see Dominic versus MJF at WrestleMania one day. I could see stuff like that happening. You know what I'm saying? Dominic's not small.
No,
he's a tall guy. He's like he's just scrawny and lanky. That's it. But he's a tall dude.
Nothing a cycle can't help, but that's another conversation.
yeah, no gimmicks,
Well, I got to be honest with you. I agree with you, Uribe. I feel like they do a really good job of producing Latino stars. This is the first time in a long time we have 4 Latino champions in WWE. This is crazy. We have Roxanne, we have Damian, we have Cody. I mean, say what you will, whether you want to or not. Cody's Latino. His mother is blood. That's right. I was getting to Bailey because I have a different name for her. That's Big Booty Mama. That's the Big Booty Mama right there. You got it. I mean, this is what we have. And I'm just so happy that somebody in WWE, like Drew McIntyre said, I prayed for this. I prayed for them to take that little dweeb off of WrestleMania. I prayed for Dragon Lee to be injured backstage. I prayed because that guy is a dork.
Why don't you like Dragon Lee?
Because it's like if Ultimo Dragon and Rey Mysterio had a fucking baby together, although he's not as good as either one of them. That's how I feel about it.
He's talented, bro. He's talented, man.
He ain't Ultimo Dragon. He ain't Rey Mysterio.
I get what you're saying. And this kind of ties back into the whole making Latino stars thing. Because, I mean, have they really? Have they really? I mean, other than Ray, what other Latino could you really say is a star and is moving merch? Oh, wait, Dominic.
Yeah.
Dominic is the Latino star. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's be
Dirty
real.
Dom, bro.
I mean, we'll see with Damian now. Obviously, listen, he's making the rounds as the
Yeah, he is.
champion. More on that later, obviously. Saw him at the Yankee game yesterday, posed with Aaron Judge. I mean, it just makes you wonder how big, like, Damian Priest is, right? And he looks small next to Aaron Judge, but everyone looks small next to Aaron Judge.
But why bisexual Undertaker? Why that? Did anybody find out why they call him bisexual Undertaker?
I don't know.
I love that he's playing into that him and Rhea. I love the way WWE has figured out a way
They're
to take
professionals.
all this stuff on the internet and they're using it. They're using everything. And it's like I love it. Talk about breaking the fourth wall. Talk about like blurring the lines, man. Just such a brilliant company.
It's that guy
Brilliant company. Yeah.
It's a wonderful company that Vince McMahon built.
Oh boy! Again, it's that great company that you got to be all in, as Paul Levesque said on the PMS show last week. You got to be all in. You can't be wanting to work one day a week, go for easy money. As Paul Levesque said, you got to be in. You have to be all in here, and it seems like the WWE is all in with Hispanic and Latino stars. And obviously, listen, we see it in NXT. We see what they have in developmental. They're certainly not going to be complacent here. Priest isn't old in the term of life years per se, but he's certainly been in the business for quite some time. So I don't know what his window still is. It's not like it's not like Damian's 25, right? I mean, I think he's like maybe late 30s, or actually 40. Who knows? So I think you want to maximize his visibility now. He talks, he works. I mean, think about what he was when you watch some of his stuff on YouTube in the Indies, and then coming up through NXT, right? Main eventing WrestleMania with Bad Bunny back in 2021 in Tampa, to where he is now. I mean, it's a really extraordinary story. Never mind the backstory about where he was personally. He was homeless. He was unemployed. I mean, again, it's a great comeback story. And I think it checks off a lot of boxes for empowering other Hispanics and Latinos and Latinas that want to get into pro wrestling. I just hope that, again, because of the narrow window he has left, I hope we get to hopefully milk as much as we can out of Damian Priest.
He's got time though, Fern. I mean, it's not like we're talking about LA Knight. I mean, like, this guy's got time,
I mean, Cody Rhodes is 38 years old.
I mean, how old is he?
Yeah.
Cody's
Cody
38.
Rhodes is 38.
No, I
Same
get
age
that.
as Roman.
But Priest, it's almost like, if he's 38, 39, that's very young in life years.
Mm-hmm.
But with the body and the punishment he's taking, he could feel a little bit older. I just want to stay healthy, and I want to see how long of a window we have with Damian Priest, because he checks off a lot of boxes that I think you want for a company like TKO. There's a lot of different stars, color, black and brown collectively. On that later, and it just seems like what as a performance.
I agree with you. I just got to be honest with you though. Like finding out his story that he was homeless at one point. Like I lived in my car for a little bit. Like I had to like live off Frosted Flakes. Like, that's the only thing I could afford.
Who's watching porn in the background? Who's watching porn here?
It's probably Tyler. That's
Tyler, you watching porn, Tyler?
I am not.
So,
I'm on my kitchen table.
It's definitely not me, because the porn I watch, there's a lot of crying.
Yeah, but I got to be honest with you. Like, just hearing his story, as a great man once said, based on the information we have about Damian Priest stuff, he's more Dusty Rhodes' son than Cody is. I mean, he grew up on hard times. Cody had a silver spoon in his mouth, and then he's the American Nightmare.
Well,
sure, but,
I mean, again, more on Cody later. Certainly, being born on third base, I think. Yeah, I mean, that can cloud a little bit of the perception. I get it. No, I get it.
Yeah.
Guys, great way to start off the. Well, obviously, we're not going to remember, but what did start the show was Becky Lynch challenging Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. And, again, Pat and I had this conversation off the air. I sometimes, when we see stars coming out to their theme song being performed, I'm like, oh, shit. We'll see. But Rhea, let me tell you, Beating well, arguably the best women wrestlers anyone in the world in back-to-back WrestleMania matches and matches that were really good. It wasn't like it was some 5-minute scrub along. It was a good match, and I think that Rhea continues to solidify herself as perhaps one of the top women in the world. And right now, moving merch. You can kind of maybe at some point see a babyface turn because she's so over with the crowd. She's
a babyface right now.
She can do heelish things, but she's still super over with a crowd. And it's one of those things that let's see where it goes.
Yeah. The only thing keeping Judgment Day heel right now is Dominic. Because Damian and Rhea should both be baby faces after last weekend.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Finn is way too over with the crowd too, so he's like another baby face too.
And JD's really getting over, man. And JD's a really good wrestler, man.
Yeah.
JD's like he's crazy underrated. Like
he's got a big head.
He does, but you know what? I feel like that helps him. Like I feel like the way his body composition is, the big head helps him be a better wrestler. You know what I'm saying? But getting back to Rhea and Becky, hey Rhea, this is a knife. I thought it was a great match, honestly. And I thought they didn't have the kind of chemistry that maybe Charlotte and Rhea had last year. I think maybe their chemistry was a little bit better, but I think for what they were trying to do, the story they were trying to tell with Becky just being worn down to the breaking point. By the way, Becky also kind of looked like a Budweiser bottle with like the words on her gear.
Yeah.
If you go back and you watch it, she kind of looked like a Budweiser bottle. It was kind of funny. But I just thought the story that they were trying to tell and just keeping Rhea as dominant as she is, I thought they accomplished everything they needed to there. And it doesn't hurt Becky in any way.
Now can we get rid of this man gimmick? He's not the man at 105 pounds.
I don't know, D. I don't know, D. I mean, she drew more money being a man than you ever did. So, you know, that's just what it is. She drew more money being a man than any one of us did. So
she's the man.
Let's just be real, you know.
Right there, Becky Lynch. She's the man. Let me move her. Let me move her hair so we can see the shirt better.
Mach, why are you playing with a woman collectible in your hand? That's concerning.
This is a wrestling action figure, pendejo. ¿Qué pasa? ¿No te gusta el juguete?
Yeah, when I was 9. Yeah, sure. 10.
Listen. I love it. I got an 8-year-old who wants toys, and I gotta buy it. And then I figured, hey, why not have them for tonight? Don't be mad. You're mad at this, aren't you? You're mad at this. That's what it is.
No.
You're mad.
You sure?
I'm not mad at that. The undisputed.
The moment you saw him with Aaron Judge, you were like, "Oh, that's it. I'm a fan for life now."
No, I mean it was insulting when Michael K said, "Oh, the new WWE." I'm like, no. A Cuban is the new WWE undisputed world. Okay,
yeah.
Michael K. Yeah. I mean, Michael K is a ham and egger, so I'm not surprised that he make a mistake.
Whoa!
Hey! Don't talk smack about Michael K like that. All right.
Yo.
All right, acknowledge him. All right, don't be talking smack on him.
Acknowledge me.
By the way, guys, breaking news here just sent to me by my sources. Actual footage just shows CM Punk, Jack Perry. Doesn't seem to be all that bad.
No, I just watched it as Pat was going through the Latino stuff.
Yeah, the Young Bucks once again disappoint. But what else is new with Matt and Nick Jackson? They're more disappointing than the New York Mets or the Toronto Blue Jays.
Can we take a pause on WrestleMania and jump right into this? What do you say, Pat?
Sure. I you know what? Yeah. Let's take a pause there.
Well, Uribe fucked it up. We were supposed to start with that and then end with WrestleMania.
You know what, Uribe? Keep talking shit, right? This is a knife. I'm sorry. I watched Crocodile Dundee yesterday, and
that movie's so I love that movie. Paul Hogan's the man.
Folks, a Puerto Rican flashing a knife on camera. I mean, it seems like.
Papa, I was a butcher for 21 years. I even had a knife in my hand as a profession.
The butcher. Never mind Buddha's beefcake, baby. That's the butcher right there. That's the butcher.
I love it. I'm gonna use that. The butcher, Macho Rodriguez. There you go.
Not to deviate from the 204,000 people that attended WrestleMania. Let's get the 204,000 people that probably total a year of AEW attendance. But let's talk about that AEW thing for a minute. Tyler, what are your thoughts about this? Another disappointing show by Tony Khan. Teasing.
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I'm recording it. I'll watch it when we're done.
Okay.
Well, I can explain it if you want because I just watched it.
Yeah, go for it.
All right,
Go for
it. so it shows Jack Perry. It shows Jack Perry walking up, and he looks like he's Sad Sam, like that old grocery store stuffed animal that they used to sell for kids. He looks like Sad Sam. Punk walks up to him. He obviously every single thing that Punk said on Ariel Helwani's show is exactly what happened. Jack Perry says something. He got too close. Punk pushes him, and then he lunges towards him, tries to put him in a headlock. He gets separated. When they finally get separated, Punk threw a punch. That's it. And then he lunged this way towards Tony Khan and must have said what he said. You're a fucking clown. And I'm out of here. That's it.
Was he with the FTR brothers or the House of Black?
During this?
Yeah.
During this? Let me double check. I was looking at CM Punk.
Oh, okay. No, because I from what I understand, he approached them with a group of people. I don't know if it was the FTR brothers, FTR Mustache and FTR Mullet, or if it was the House of Black.
He approached them by himself.
Okay.
He originally approaches them by himself, and then Samoa Joe's over to the left side of the footage. The refs, it initially looks like nothing. It looks like it's just Punk and Perry talking. But you can see, obviously, like Perry's getting animated, and that's when like Punk looks away, looks at the producer, and then whatever Perry said forced Punk to push him. But it does not look like Punk did anything other than what he said on Helwani's show.
Was he in his gear?
Yeah, he was ready to go out and work.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That's true. Okay.
Tyler,
he worked the first match.
Tyler, I'm curious. Obviously last week.
Yeah, Tyler, you keep saying CM Punk's is as much to blame as the Bucks are. So
based on the Tyler, let me ask you this though. Based on the Ariel Helwani interview, which was really good, and certainly I think that from what sources are telling me, obviously it wasn't a piece of furniture that wasn't nailed to the ground, that wasn't probably on the floor somewhere laying last week in Con State. As an AEW fan, what did you think of Punk going on the Ariel Helwani show, and then obviously Khan's response last week? Certainly releasing some talent, forcing Adam Copeland to go out there and cut an embarrassing promo, sort of like this rah-rah, let's rally the troops in front of a half-empty building type of thing. And then obviously FTR, when obviously showing off the air, addressing the crowd, all 300 people in the building. And then obviously the Bucks teasing this footage release. As an AEW fan, do you think that it just seems like they should just get over what? Because it seems like the only reason that Dynamite will probably do any ratings tonight is because of CM Punk, and he's not even with the company anymore.
I'll start with the Adam Copeland thing. I think he's probably just happy to do it because they're basically letting him do whatever he wants, work with whoever he wants. So they were probably like, "Can you go do this?" And he probably just said, "Sure." And then his mic, it doesn't help that his mic cuts out 5 or 6 times during the first 2 minutes. But yeah, it was obviously cringe. I don't know why they felt the need to do that. Why not just respond with what they're doing tonight? Which, whatever, who cares? As far as who asked me about me saying Punk is as much to blame as anyone, it sounds like he was the first to get physical, so I don't know why I'd back off that stance.
I mean, Tyler, have you ever been in a fist fight before?
Okay, well, he threw the first punch.
Yeah, but I just asked you a question. Don't avoid.
Wait, was there audio? Was there audio on this video? Was there audio?
No.
Then we'll never know.
Okay, so is the person who throws the first punch not the one to blame?
No.
Did he throw a punch or did he shove him?
He shoved him first.
He said he shoved him, and then they got into a little schmoz, and then when they were pulled
and
apart,
then Samoa Joe and a referee separated them.
But did they show?
And then you said he threw a punch.
Did they
Yeah,
show Tony
right?
Khan? Did they show Punk talking to Tony Khan and Tony Khan shrugging his shoulders?
He goes towards like the monitors.
Well, Tyler, but Tyler, isn't this predicated on the fact that, again, and from what we learned during the Ariel Helwani interview, it seemed like Jack Perry was on this like sort of incessant adolescent, I guess, effort to break glass for whatever reason, to break the glass on a rental car, and then goes on camera and makes the comment that he makes. I mean, Tyler, again, it's pro wrestling. It's a bunch of guys, testosterone's running rampant everywhere. We know why Jack Perry made the comment he made on the air, right? Like, oh, Crimea River, whatever it was. I mean, again, correct me, D, you can sort of get the quote up for me exactly. But based on that, though, Tyler, like, it almost seems like Jack Perry's looking for a fight in that instance, and it seems like, again,
You don't have to give it to him.
What's that?
You don't have to give it to him.
Well, Tyler, you're expecting everyone to grow up like you. Like CM Punk grew up on the mean streets of Chicago.
Yeah,
Where
Jack
you hit
Grew up
Perry,
on the mean,
Jack Perry grew
on
up
the
in
mean streets.
Jack Perry grew up on the mean streets of Orange County. Again, good for him. He lived a
Bro,
life
this is like
you know?
this is the thing. CM Punk is almost fucking 40, or he's 45, and some punk kid decided at this very moment he was going to say some shit in front of what they say 100,000 people were there. He embarrassed them
No,
in
they
front of
said 80.
100,000 people.
Yes,
Right?
Fernando, you're right. It's real glass, Crimea River.
I mean, again, we're
Did
going.
he embarrass him or did he embarrass himself?
But again, we're going by the premise that what he said was truthful. Obviously, during the Ira Helwani interview, that 4 weeks Jack Perry was being insufferable, and he was insistent on this stunt. He went along with it, successfully, I guess. So he used real glass, and then coincidentally, you're kind of like, again, it's a testosterone-filled business. If Perry goes up to him and says, "Hey, yeah, real glass, whatever it was, Crimea River," and he says it in a slight way direction. I mean, Tyler, again, a lot of 40-year-old men.
I'm not saying he's the only one to blame. I'm saying he's not innocent.
He is innocent. He didn't
No,
do
he
anything
isn't.
wrong. Yes, he is. I'm sorry, Tyler. Not everybody agrees with you. Sometimes you fuck around and you find out, and that's what happened.
And again,
Sometimes you get smacked in the mouth for saying stupid shit.
and again, like we'll never know about the NDA, right? Now that obviously everybody signed. Well, let's be honest, Tyler. But let's be honest, Tyler, about the brawl out. Let's be honest about whose fault it is. Again,
Punk was in his own dressing room.
Again, Tyler, if I'm at a press conference and I decide to say, "Hey, Tyler, the Blue Jays are atrocious," okay, you may not like that comment, right? Cool. The minute you proceed generically, you proceed to go to my locker room, you open the door, kick it down, whatever the fuck it is. You're coming into my space and you're going to say whatever it is you're going to say. You think, hey, you're walking down the street and you see a fist fight possibly coming. Who do you think's going to win a fist fight? Matt or Nick Jackson or Phil Brooks? I mean,
So to be clear, it's okay for Punk to confront Jack about whatever he says and start stuff, but it wasn't okay for the Bucks to confront Punk about what he said.
Listen, the Bucks can do that, but the problem is that they, to quote Mach, okay, you could have. Well, first of all, I think Tony Khan's to blame for all of it because he has zero leadership.
Yeah, he just needs to run his company and,
to be a boss. But again,
or get someone to do it for him.
That's fine. Now the Bucks chose to go to his locker room with Kenny Omega. They chose to either open the door, push the door open, whatever it was. Now, again, if I remember correctly, I don't know if but I knew Omega and the Bucks were. And the reason they're suspended, Tyler, is yes, you could say, "Oh, the Bucks had every right." They're executives. There's no reason for executives to barge down a door.
So breaking news, because this is what AEW has become. They've become WCW when Eric Bischoff called out Mick Foley.
This is WCW 2000, basically. They're in this phase right now.
Will Ospreay says live on Dynamite to Renee Paquette, You were grinding on the boss's daughter, bro. Once again, another shot at WWE. Here's my biggest fucking problem with this. Everybody's complaining that Triple H made a comment last week, right? And everybody's complaining that there have been comments made recently that WWE has decided, oh, we're going to start doing this. I'm sorry. But when you attack me for 5 years, you're using me on your telecast, on your precious television time, and you continue to use me in promos, you continue to use my superstars, and then I match your energy, and that's when you're telling me that I'm the fucking bully? Nah, bro. I was up here. I wasn't mentioning you. I made one joke to Billy Gunn at a Hall of Fame ceremony, and that warrants 5 years of you bringing me up? I'm sorry, man. AEW's like, this company's fucking ridiculous. They're ruining careers.
Triple H said something about Ospreay the other day, right?
Yes.
Well, listen, it's not all.
Okay, and given the reason that he chose to do what he did, I think he has a damn good reason.
You're not allowed to say that because you're the person that doesn't agree with Roman working the lighter schedule because of his cancer. So you can't just use.
I never said
You said he shouldn't be champion. You said he shouldn't be champion if he has cancer.
Oh, I didn't say he shouldn't be champion if he has cancer. I said he shouldn't be champion if he can't work. If he can't work.
You didn't say that.
Well, Tyler, back to the point, though, I'm curious. What is that noise in the background?
Well, I don't know.
It's not me.
Who's got noise in the background?
I have these on. You guys, yeah.
Okay. So,
it's not here.
Tyler, not to digress from this, but again, the point is, I think that what's happening. Listen, it's pro wrestling. People want to get a little fickle with comments, and it's fun.
Fickle.
I get it. I do it every week. So believe me, I'm not immune to that practice. I think in this case, what's going on?
You can't help but put yourself over. I love it. But anyways, keep going.
But the premise is that I think that what's happened in the last few years between Khan, Nick Khan, Paul Levesque, maybe to some extent Vince McMahon too, not so much per se, is I think that there's now this perception that, okay, you want to take jabs, it's not a problem. I don't have so much a problem with what Paul Levesque said last year, because I don't think, now again, if you have not you, I mean this generically, if you have a complex about who you are as an athlete, as a wrestler, that's one thing, but Paul Levesque could have easily just said, hey, there's A, B, and C person out there. He chose not to. I think you take the high road, which is the right thing to do in a business sense. But what Paul Levesque said wasn't wrong. I get it. There's competition out there who's willing to pay you a little more money, work less. Cool. That's fine. If you're not all in,
money's ruined professional wrestling.
But if you're not all in, but if you're not all in and you're not invested in the business, where
sorry guys.
I mean, think of it this way. Jade Cargill offered $2 million to stay with AEW. She chose to accept a $750,000 contract by TKO because she knew long term, hey, I'll make that money back in a year or two, and I'll be on a bigger platform. I'll be handled more professionally, and the sky's the limit. So
she bet on herself, which is what people in Europe didn't want to do.
I think it's also the fact that, listen, money doesn't solve everything, because you can have endless wealth to pay all these people, but guess what? When you're paying all these people, what's Okada doing right now? Okay, great. You're making stupid money. God bless you. You put your body through hell. But guess what? Other than the AEW audience, who knows about Okada? In North America, per se, who knows about Okada as much as someone would know about, I don't know, Damian Priest or Dominic Mysterio, or even, I'll even go further down, Ilya Dragunov, Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes. I think that we have to be intellectually honest here about the fundamental difference between the two companies. That's all I'm saying.
Right, but the shot that was taken was at a guy who's chosen to work 1 day a week so he can still live in England and raise his best friend's son who died during COVID. So I'm sorry, but that's a cheap shot. And if he wants to respond, he has every right to.
But who even said that this was about him, man? I mean, I think Triple H was just talking about the talent, and not for nothing, man. Like,
Well,
yo,
I don't know. I got
like,
a soliloquy texted to me after it was said and that it was about him. So
I don't know if it was about him. I think it's just a matter of the fact that Triple H was saying, hey, if you want to grind and you want to master your craft, this is the place to come. You want to take it easy, go somewhere else? Hey, go do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
again,
shit, even Punk talked about it.
And you can't knock people like Jay White, Okada, who want to work less. They put their bodies through a lot of stuff over these. I get all that. I'm not, again, let me be fair. I'm not vilifying anyone for wanting to earn more money. It's a tough business. Tomorrow you could be crippled on a botch. So you want to make your money, have a solid economic foundation. I'm all for that. I'm not demonizing. But I think what Triple H was alluding to, again, if you have a not you, but generically, if you have a complex about what direction, again, AEW is a company that has incredible wealth, okay, but we're also seeing it has some limitations. And we're also seeing this week, right, New Japan just announced that, yeah, they don't want to go in on Forbidden Door at Arthur Ashe because of the production value. Number one, they're not going to sell out the building. Number two, it's probably not in their best interest to invest that much money into a show that has progressively declined. The first the first Grand Slam in 2021, amazing. We were coming out of COVID. We were getting back to the crowds again. It was a packed house for Omega and Danielson. But since then, Forbidden Door
They haven't had a main event that good since then, though.
Yes.
Like they haven't, and I don't mean what we saw. And I'm not like, because I feel like Tyler will go on a tangent because he'll say I'm being a homer. What I'm saying is we haven't seen a crowd that invested in an AEW match since then. Go back and watch that tape. As a matter of fact, every year on the anniversary of that Danielson and Omega match since it happened, it gets shared everywhere. It's not about the two guys in the ring. It's about the crowd. That's what you guys all tried to convince me about Mania 39, right? It was about the crowd being invested into the tag match, right?
The crowd was hot,
That's what it was. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Go back and watch the video. The crowd was hot because they were watching two generational guys in the ring, Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson. AEW has not produced a single match that has warranted that crowd. Not a single match has gotten a standing ovation right after the bell. They haven't been able to produce it. They gave you a one-off match, and they have not found two guys that worked each other better than those two. And now we're sitting here like, okay, but they've had all these great matches. We have Kenny versus Ospreay. I'm sorry, Kenny versus Ospreay is not better than Bryan versus Kenny. And my proof is video of the three of you guys convincing me that Sammy and Kevin versus the Usos was better than Charlotte and Rhea because of the crowd involvement. So that's what I'm saying. Obviously, the crowd didn't give a shit about Kenny versus Ospreay. I watched the match. The crowd's barely invested.
You're so full of shit. It's ridiculous.
You're telling me it's as hot as Arthur Ashe?
I know. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they weren't uninvested when he did the stuff with the flag. He didn't get heat then? They didn't boo?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, usually when people mark out, usually when people use Shawn Michaels tactics, usually people, they mark out over it. You know,
yes.
Shawn Michaels putting the Canadian flag in his nose. Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, let me go be a mark over here at this other company.
Well, your hero went to that other company because he wasn't happy in WWE. So I don't get what you're saying.
Yeah, the Miz told him to. He followed the Miz's directions.
Okay.
I just think that at the end of the day, both companies are just like feeding off of what the other one gives the other. You know, in AEW's case, they have to lean a little bit more into what WWE is giving them to kind of try and satiate their crowd, but their crowd's shrunk considerably, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with saying that. I think we have to be objective here, and I think Tony Khan needs to really implement some type of structure if he wants his company to continue moving forward. Otherwise, he's just going to pay to have fucking exhibition wrestling matches.
And again, I think the advantage that Tony Khan has is that based on his wealth and his father's wealth, that AEW is not in any real danger, I would say, of folding because of the financial sustenance that it has. I mean, if we remember towards the tail end of WCW, Time Warner made a decision in terms of like, well, this is what we used to invest into pro wrestling. We're not going to do that anymore. We're going to slash your budget. Obviously, the ongoing battle between Dr. Harvey Schiller and Eric Bischoff, which resulted in Eric being sent home. We all know the history and everything. The advantage that Tony Khan has is that right now, the wealth that he enjoys because of his dad with the NFL's Jacksonville Jaguars, with his football club in England, I mean, they are money-making apparatuses. And I think that AEW, again, I'm not an accountant. I don't have any access to their books. I don't know what they're bringing in as well as what they're putting out money-wise. But the advantage Tony Khan has is that he's not going to go under anytime soon unless his father just says, I'm going to stop funding this project of yours, which doesn't seem to be the case as we're approaching year 5 later on this fall. Having said that, there are some fine-tuning that Tony Khan can do in the sense of working smaller buildings. Maybe, I'm not sure when it comes to television production, I don't know what we can do. But the biggest thing is, again, I think that's the advantage Khan has. And as long as he has this endless wealth, he's going to continue to sign any big free agent that he's willing to overpay for. And I think that at the same time, again, I think the big variable we're not talking about here is whenever that TV contract is up with TNT, what's going to happen with Discovery? What's going to happen with Time Warner Discovery when they say, hey, this is what we signed you for in 2019. You're not giving us the same ROI anymore. So instead of whatever the number, D, look it up for me, please. 50 million, we might give you 30. And to be honest with you, from a business perspective, Time Warner Discovery is not wrong to do that. If you're not giving me an ROI that justifies the original dollar amount, that's the only thing I would argue that probably could hurt Tony Khan, but he can overcompensate for that because he has so much money.
Right. It's the same thing as it's always been. He needs to get someone in there that knows what they're doing and can control someone that people are going to respect and listen to, and that can control the backstage shenanigans.
But Tyler, you mean like a booker or an EVP? Like
a booker and somebody who could run a locker room, somebody who could deal with the boys, somebody who could do all that stuff.
Well, that's Chris Daniels. That's
Booker
for Daniels, though. That's
but I mean that's the thing. I don't know if he's even the guy to do that, because you need a guy that's going to be fucking super assertive when needed, but also be cool enough where like there's a rapport, there's a relationship, but like that's it. You got to be able to have that friend boss balance. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that because wrestlers are predatory, dude. Wrestlers are fucking predatory, yo. A wrestler, if you're a promoter and they're trying to get over, they'll do anything they can to try and get over. Period. Anything they can. And they'll be your best buddy. They'll kiss up. They'll bring you everything you want. They'll tell you everything you want to hear. And then at some point, they're going to slip in, hey, but can we talk about my push? Can we talk about something that we could do? Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So sooner or later, that's what's going to happen. And Tony Khan is such a nice guy that he gets overwhelmed with promising people a lot of things in good faith. But the fact is that like he can't deliver on all that. And if you're trying to run a wrestling company, you have to do what's best for your company. Jack Perry should have been fired. The Young Bucks should have been told, and Kenny Omega and Hangman, they all should have been told, hey, we're getting in the fucking room and we're talking, or you guys can fuck off. That's it. And if they have a bad attitude, good luck going to WWE and making the money that you're making here.
Kenny would have made that money.
Would he?
Yeah.
Would he?
No.
Yeah, I believe
Would
so.
he? Would he?
I believe he's that good.
Look, talent-wise, he's good, but who the fuck knows him outside of a fucking hardcore wrestling audience?
I don't know what the dollar amount would have been.
I think Triple H would have built him the right way. That's what I'm
saying.
I
don't know what the dollar amount was going to be in 2019 when they were talking, because there was always that rumor about him being a surprise entrant at the Rumble in 2019. We're never going to know.
Who?
But Kenny Omega, right? Wasn't that like a rumor at one point, like 2019?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was and obviously that was before AEW launched, really, because basically you had All In, Yeah, I think you had Double or Nothing in 2019. I think in May of 2019. I remember that. And then we started seeing Dynamite later that fall. But
Yeah, Double or Nothing was May 2019.
what's that?
Double or Nothing was May 2019.
Yeah, I know. But I think earlier in the year, I think at that Rumble in, I believe, Houston, or I'm not sure, Phoenix, I'm not sure. But the point was, obviously in
Phoenix.
that Rumble, it was Phoenix. Thank you. It was rumored that maybe, again, AEW not formed yet. They have been talks with him. We're never going to know. But I think Omega, had he started in NXT and you bring him up and make him more known to North American audiences, I think would have been great. In NXT, we're never going to know because obviously he was given an office job, making more money, working less. And again, for what he's put his body through, Jesus Christ. I mean, this is a guy who is right now recovering from diverticulitis. Forgive me for the pronunciation. But again, we'll never know. But he's at a point now where when he comes back, whenever he comes back, I mean, he's going to be a shell of himself. He's older now. His body easily has added 10 years in age because of the punishment he's endured. So it'll be interesting when it comes to those guys. Guys, let's get back to Mania. I know we sort of sidetracked with the breaking news and 300,000 people that will tune in tonight for Dynamite. But back to the six-pack challenge match, ladder match for the undisputed WWE tag team titles. And we had talked about this in the previous show where would we really be surprised if we saw, again, as Michael Cole alluded to on Monday, the go-home show, hey, the first team to pull down the titles would become the champions. And as soon as you saw the match, as soon as you saw titles being held separately above the ring, I said, oh, this is a perfect way to have one set of champions on SmackDown, one set of champions on Raw. Not a surprise. I know we talked about it on the air. I was happy to see R-Truth and Miz get their WrestleMania moment. Miz never really had one. I mean, I know in 2011, defeating Cena with the Rock's help was, I guess, a WrestleMania moment, but it wasn't as feel good as it was sharing it with Truth on Saturday. And certainly, two guys who I think in the last 3 years, Grayson Waller and Austin Theory have come a long way from being these selfie-taking, obnoxious heels to A, good workers, and B, I think being really good heels that have, I think, elevated their games. So not unhappy with the result there.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with it too. I guess I was kind of pulling for New Catch Republic at the time. I just kind of felt like I really wanted to see Tyler Bate. I thought he would have popped the crowd real hard. But
Hey, turn down.
Yeah, it's nice to see Grayson Waller. He's a good lad. I also liked Indy Hartwell sharing all the way photos today, almost like alluding to maybe this is what's happening because we've seen Candice LeRae kind of turn. Maybe they bring back the way and stuff like that. Okay. Have a big group, another big faction. We'll see. It's good though.
Yeah, that would be a good Latino group. You could get a Mexican in there and be like, "This is the way,"
Yeah, this is the way, Holmes.
The Mexican dude, like a Cholo. And bam, that's your next Latino star, Cholo.
I like it.
It's not racist because we're Hispanic.
Yeah.
Kyle, your thoughts on the tag team title matches?
Yeah, I thought they were fun. I'm a big fan of Grayson Waller, so I was happy to see him win. And I think Miz and R-Truth winning was pretty obvious for the other one. R-Truth's a guy that's, made the best out of everything they've given him for however long it's been.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see him get a moment like that.
Absolutely. I think it was great. Moving on to another title match, Gunther and his 666 days of a streak of a title defense was on the line against Sami Zayn, a guy who once again super over with the crowd. Not sure what his merch sales are like, but it's always been like a popular shirt. He's a guy that the crowd has been very invested in. I wasn't sure again, sort of like the pre-match, with the wife and the kid, and then Kevin right before he went through Gorilla, kind of a tease like, "Ooh, could this be maybe a letdown?" But again, seems to have this amazing ability to like look at someone like Sami Zayn and hey, you put the rocket pack on him, and in back-to-back Manias, I mean, 2 very heartfelt title wins for Sami Zayn. Last year with Kevin Owens unseating the Usos, and this year unseating arguably the greatest Intercontinental Champion probably of the last decade or so, if not the last quarter century. Kind of frees up Gunther now to maybe, with obviously the Berlin show coming up in August. Who knows? Maybe Gunther could be that next challenger for Raw's World Heavyweight Championship. But good match, a lot of emotion, the great storytelling, never say die attitude that is Sami Zayn. I would have preferred to put the title maybe on a young and up-and-coming guy like a Braun Breaker, maybe a Carmelo Hayes. I didn't think Sami needed the rub. I think he's still super over. Had he lost, it would not have killed his momentum. I would have liked it on somebody else, but not the worst finish. And certainly Sami Zayn will be, a good Intercontinental Champion.
When you would talk about Sami Zayn, you address him by his proper name. Mr. WrestleMania.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's reserved for somebody else, but okay. I mean, if you want to.
Wow.
Find me a bad Sami Zayn WrestleMania match.
That's interesting because somebody does need to take up the mantle, So I mean, a lot of people try to
Johnny
push
Knoxville
the
match.
Rollins thing.
Awesome. Yeah, the Johnny Knoxville match, awesome. The ladder match, awesome. Bryan Danielson match,
that
awesome.
was entertaining, though. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't put that match up against the last 2 years of the storytelling going into these 2 last WrestleManias. But yeah, I mean, listen, the Jackass match with Johnny Knoxville was entertaining. I think it had a good backstory, no disagreement there. But to say it was the same level of emotional investment we had with him, with Kevin Owens against the Usos and Gunther, I don't think it's the same thing much.
But it's a different type of match, though. It's a comedy match.
Okay.
And if anything, this is showcasing his depth as a talent, and his abilities.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Great. I love the callback to El Generico.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that was cool. The Brainbuster. That shit was cool, man.
No, absolutely.
Jimmy and Jay, on Gunther too.
Jimmy and Jey Uso, obviously only the 3rd ever biological brothers taking on each other during WrestleMania. The previous 2 were won by the heels, the late great Owen Hart and Matt Hardy, when they faced obviously the brothers Jeff and Brett collectively in the previous 2. I kind of had a feeling, maybe Jimmy squeaks this out. Jay's kind of gotten the better of him a little bit lately. I don't know, but a hell of a match. A lot of emotion, storytelling. Obviously, Jimmy drawing in, trying to, evoke some empathy out of his younger brother. But a good match, a good win for Jay for main event. Jey Uso. Tyler, what were your thoughts on that?
I thought that match was terrible, to be honest. Easily the second worst of the weekend and the worst of night 1.
Why was it bad?
They didn't really do anything. They
super kick party.
Super kicked each other. They're like, are they the Young Bucks?
Well, thankfully not.
Were they trying to take the piss? Was that what it was? Or is it just they didn't know what else to do? The story, the emotional part with where Jimmy tries to convince Jay to reunite, that's good. But I thought the match was pretty bad, to be honest. Definitely underwhelming.
Okay.
Oos.
Mach.
I thought that for me, I'm gonna hot tag you here, Mach. I'm gonna cut you off there, but I think that it's my last show.
Go for it, brother. All you.
I'm hanging it up. After this. But I thought that the match in terms of like
once again the older brother is fucking with the younger brother. That's what it is. That's fucked up.
No, not at all. Not at all. I just think that I think that for this match, it wasn't about wrestling. It's about the story. It's about them getting the emotion out of each other. And I think emotionally and for what they were trying to do, it worked. It was exactly what it needed to be story-wise, right? But as a wrestling match, I could see how it could underwhelm, especially given the Usos' abilities. Yeah. But I think it was more story centric than wrestling centric.
Okay. Fair enough. Much.
I didn't enjoy this match. I didn't enjoy it because I expected the entrance of Sami Zayn's first Rumble. I expected them to just, I don't know if you guys remember, when Sami debuts at the Rumble, him and Kevin Owens just start beating the shit out of each other in the middle of the ring. It was like two kids that
but that's their spot. That's their spot.
Yeah. That's kind of what I expected because Jimmy and Jay have told us for years this was the match they wanted their whole lives. And they've always talked about wrestling around in the living room.
Yeet.
Like just rolling around, beating each other up in the living room. It's just like fighting in the living room at home. That's kind of what I expected. So when we got this match, I was like, they're trying to produce a wrestling match. And I thought this was going to be a fight. And when I looked at it, and I said this to Pat, I believe it was yesterday, I think it drew like a really clear line in the sand that Jey Uso is a legitimate single star and Jimmy is a tag wrestler.
Yeet.
Yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair. I think that's a fair assertion, and obviously
I disagree. I think they both could be
yeet.
singles wrestlers. I think they could be whatever they want them to be, and I just think that Jimmy's role right now is more of a secondary role. I mean, Jimmy succeeded at being a heel. I mean, he's not a star, but he's succeeded at being a good heel, and I think he's played a good heel to Jay's babyface. I think Jay right now is so over and such a good babyface that it makes Jimmy look like less because he's actually a good heel. Like he's being a good heel. He's not trying to outdo him. He's just being slimy and snaky and he's just coming in and picking his shots and being a scumbag.
Okay.
Yeah, I can already predict him costing Jay the title against Damien.
Yeet.
Yeah, you can almost see that again. I think it's not a one-off. Obviously, you can maybe not as long as drawn out as it was with Brett and Owen, Matt and Jeff per se, but certainly there is a possibility to revisit this feud. It's certainly not over, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, in the spring and summer.
It is interesting that the better brother in all three of these matches won.
The younger ones too.
Yeah.
So Matt's
younger than Jeff.
So in 2009, Matt was better than Jeff.
Oh no, never mind. Sorry, no. Sorry.
Matt. In fairness, Jeff has more charisma. But as far as it goes with the technique and being a good worker, a safe worker, not being reckless, not hurting yourself, Matt is the better worker.
Yeet.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, no, fair enough. I was looked at Jeff, obviously, being put in more world title matches or more
because he was more charismatic. He was more naturally charismatic.
Yeah.
Matt wasn't, I think, anywhere near what his brother was. You're right about his charisma. But definitely, no, you're right. Matt was definitely safer. That
Edge feud was hot though.
Yes, absolutely. The 6-woman match, I think was.
Time out. Hold on 1 second. I didn't say nothing about Sami Zayn. I just realized that real quick. Let me just go back to that 1 second.
Gotcha.
Sami Zayn. Okay, so I'm with you, Uribe. I did think that this is something that should have gone to a younger guy, right?
6.
But it seems like them putting Braun Breaker on SmackDown is probably going to build towards Braun Breaker being in a tag team and then eventually going singles. And I could see him at some point going against Logan Paul for the U.S. title.
You mean Braun Breaker from the Wolf Dogs?
From the Wolf Dogs. I think he could do that there. But I think with Sammy, I think it's more not so much about the fact that he's over. I think this is repayment for all the good work that he's done, for being a good fucking soldier, for fucking getting everything over, making the most of every fucking second that he got, working with celebrities and being successful, not hurting anybody, being safe. Like, Sammy deserves this. And Sammy gets a great response every time he goes out there, and you're going to get a good match out of the guy. So I think this is something good for him. I think that I thought it was going to happen in Montreal, right, next week, but apparently Billy Body had reported that Gunther was going to be taken off TV sooner, and that there are no plans for him as of just yet. But he was going to take time off anyway. So they probably, they cut that shit off, and they probably were like, fuck it, we'll have a feel-good moment with him. Whatever, you'll go to Montreal, the IC champ. That'll still be great no matter what. That crowd's going to be electric. And, keep him off and bring him back eventually. I think that's a smart idea, but Sammy deserved it. And
really?
Yeah, everything. Yeah, absolutely.
No way.
I think if you weren't going to give it to a younger guy, right? And they're not going to bring up Carmelo now. They're keeping Carmelo down there for a little bit because you got to keep the roster spread out with the talent. You can't leave NXT with nothing, I think that Braun and Corbin being in a tag team and going to fucking SmackDown or going to the main roster.
The Wolf Dogs.
And then Corbin being in France, because apparently Baron Corbin is super fucking over in France. And they figured, okay, him going to France, that international crowd, that shit rubs off on the U.S. audience. Because they see that shit when they watch those PLEs and they're like, fuck it, I'm going to act like that when I see this guy. Or we're going to pop for this guy because this guy, look at how great this looks. We could do this too. And that's just how it kind of fucking spreads. But anyways, long story short, congratulations, Sami Zayn, a great worker. And I think if you weren't going to give it to a young guy, it's either him or Kevin Owens you should give it to.
Absolutely. And we'll see, obviously, since they'll be going at, obviously, Sami Zayn will be defending the title against Chad Gable coming up on next week's Monday Night Raw. So that should be interesting.
Right. Can I say,
sure.
I just think that they're still rebuilding that title from basically using it as a prop for 20 years, and so they wanted to keep it on a bigger name. That's why it didn't go to a young guy. Probably they're trying to keep it in a position of strength, and eventually maybe he drops it to somebody younger.
Listen, kudos to the talent there. No, great observation there for sure. Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, and keeping Gunther off television for a little bit isn't going to hurt him. I think it'll just build around the mystique for him. And again, as we get summer and we get towards that show in Berlin, Germany, he's a guy, Austrian, it's going to be almost a homecoming in a sense because of the region. So that'll be very interesting as well. Certainly the SmackDown. What's that?
Draft them to SmackDown.
Yeah, no, absolutely, no doubt. The 6 women match I thought was really interesting, guys. Damage Control, the women's tag team champions, the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane and Asuka, teamed up with Dakota Kai to take on Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill. I got to tell you,
Big story.
Great entrances. As we saw last week, obviously, the way that they're building 3 strong women of color, I think it was a good way to start end SmackDown. A really sort of empowering presence going into their match. And you almost had this sense like, yeah, they're not going to lose. I think the way they're building up these 3 ladies, the way they're building up Jade, you can tell she's money. Great body, great charisma. Still needs to work on some stuff in the ring. But again, that's why she's at the PC in Orlando. That's why she's working and gravitating towards great veterans to give her counsel and advice. Great match overall. I think it checked off a lot of boxes for the audience. And Jade Cargill came out looking like $1 million with that pinfall.
Yeah.
100%.
So
great.
Yeah. You guys are more pop culture versed than I am. Can somebody explain the line going down from the top of Jade's head to like her midsection? What was that about?
I have no idea.
It was just a silver line. It was just kind of weird.
I don't know what it is, but I wish I was it.
Yep.
Sure.
1000% agree. Yep. I loved it. I thought it was great. Great way to showcase them. All 6 women look great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Fun match.
I mean,
Asuka's makeup looked really, really fucking
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
Kyrie's makeup looked really fucking cool. The miss spot, everything came out great. Dakota looked great. Dakota
Yeah,
looks
she did.
different. I mean, aside from aesthetically, she looked great. She
She did.
just looked great in the ring. And
Did you see
yeah,
Bubba
man.
Ray complaining that what's Kyrie
Kyrie
Sane?
Sane didn't wipe her feet.
Well, she walked around the ring and
Yeah.
she didn't go in with everybody else, so she was in business for herself. So Bubba-
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Everybody's got a show, right?
I feel you.
I wouldn't make too much of it. It's not like Triple H is kicking her out of the locker room and making her get changed on a bus or something.
Yeah, no, totally.
I thought that was
Again,
Mark Henry that said that.
yes, I'm sorry, it was Mark Henry.
A great
whatever.
performance by everybody in that match. I think again, Jade looks like a star. Kudos to her. I think listen, the sky's the limit for this young lady. Don't really care for her bum ass husband, former Cincinnati Red, Brandon Phillips, but she's a girl that I tell you checks off a lot of boxes. Athletic,
Yum,
sexy. She's gonna get better. You could tell.
Would you let her beat you up, Uribe?
I would let her sit on my face. Absolutely, yeah, no question.
What the fuck?
I would say that you could tell she gets certain fundamentals thus far. Again, for you two guys, the workers, I think that the sky's the limit for her. I think she's picking it up very well. She's working with real professionals at the Performance Center that are giving her help. I would like to, at some point, I mean, obviously it's inevitable. At some point, let's see how her promo game improves. Because let's be honest, and while I love Smart Mark Sterling, one of my favorite wrestling managers, pretty much like she cut a promo like, hey, whoever's interviewing me, Alex Marvez, that bum, or Renee Piquet, whoever, it was like, oh, or Tony, it was Shamani. He was like, oh, Tony, cut the shit, or whatever. It was kind of very minimal. I'd like to see how her promo work will improve, especially at the PC and who she's working with. I think the sky's the limit for Jade.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think so too, man. She's super talented. She made the right choice to go there. WWE's gonna get her over. Bianca, Naomi. I'm telling you, man, like all six of those women, they're all over in their own way. They're all over in a group. It's just, I mean, it's a testament to what they're doing there right now, man. They're doing some good shit, pal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And in the main event, folks, perhaps the most historic tag team main event in the history of wrestling, going back to even 40 years ago, on March 31st, 1985, when Mr. T teamed with champion Hulk Hogan against Rowdy Piper and Mr. Wonderful. No other tag team main event match in the history of WrestleMania got anywhere near the hype that this match got. But The Rock, the final boss, the great one, TKO board member Dwayne Johnson, teamed with his cousin up until Sunday, the longest reigning WWE champion of really the modern era at over 1,370 days. Roman Reigns taking on the American Nightmare, the two-time consecutive year winner of the Men's Royal Rumble, and his partner at the time, the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins. Guys, I got to tell you, for a match, I said, well, this might go 40, 45 minutes. We don't know what's going to happen with The Rock. Everybody handled themselves well. A lot of great storytelling. Certainly the finish leaves a lot to be really to continue the story of, hey, I got to pin the American Nightmare and maybe prolong that saga for the future. I have to tell you that a great match. Listen, The Rock's little lines, obviously, scolding the referee, don't you count or you're fired, which at that point, it's like, okay, it's no count out in this match. And it seems like maybe there's no disqualification in this match either. I think this match delivered in a lot of different ways. And once Cody, as a Roman Reigns mark, I mean, once Cody took the pin clean against The Rock, I said, oh, God, Cody's going to win the next night. But again, before we get to that, a hell of a tag team match, guys, on Saturday night.
It's real fucking quiet on the internet, isn't it? All these fucking people, huh? From Canada all the way down to fucking Florida. Real quiet about The Rock now, huh? Everybody talked all this shit. Oh, he's overrated. Oh, he's not going to be able to work. He's too old. He's stealing the spotlight. Real fucking quiet, right? Mr.
Are you
MVP,
talking about?
Mr. WrestleMania MVP. I'm talking about everybody, Tyler. All the Rocky
I was gonna
haters that
say,
wanted to go
I'm-
on here and wanted to talk shit about The Rock and say that he was going to gas himself out. All the idiots that saw one fucking spot on Monday Night Raw and saw him pull a people's elbow and watched him gas because they've never been in a fucking ring before, and they immediately said The Rock can't go anymore, forgetting that he's one of pound for pound one of the greatest wrestlers ever in the entire realm of professional wrestling. Like, he wasn't going to spend time getting himself right, and he wasn't going to do this, that he was going to embarrass somebody like Cody on Cody's monumental weekend. He was going to embarrass somebody like Seth Rollins. He was going to do that to his own cousin, Roman Reigns. No, he was going to absolutely be the best version of himself. This heel character, this heel run that he's done has been fucking phenomenal. I just love how all of a sudden, the moment the match ended, guess the word that all of the smart marks all over the internet started using? Masterpiece. Just hilarious. I watched it. I watched people like fucking Sportskeeda use the word masterpiece, Meltzer, fucking Brian Alvarez, all these people. Oh, that was a masterful match.
Those are big words for Meltzer and Alvarez. I mean,
Can you smell what Macho's cooking?
They might have hurt themselves.
It's just fucking dumb. I just really wish. Pat says it all the time. He said it to me today. I made a comment to him. I was like, I'm starting to think Damian is not going to be a transitional champ. His media appearances make me think they're going to give him a lengthy run. Do you know what Pat told me? Do you know what Pat said to me earlier today when I said that to him? I'm sure you read it in the chat. He said, let's let it play out. Let's just let it play out and see what happens. That's what people should have done with The Rock instead of jumping on here and saying he's overrated. Fucking idiots. They're all idiots. All of them.
Mach, tell me how you really feel.
I love The Rock, and I'll defend him until the day I die.
I think that, he's a professional and he's one of the greatest ever. And I think he's a guy who attracts a lot of attention. Why wouldn't you want him in your company? He's a fucking legend. He's a legend. He's main evented WrestleManias. You know what I mean? He's done so much shit. And he came in, he evolved his character. He stopped relying on the same old fucking shtick. He put a new twist on it. He dressed himself up differently. He did all the little things that he needed to keep himself in a position where he could come out of this looking like the legend that he is. And he put in the work, he put in the time, and you got to give it to him, man. And I think anybody that wants to criticize him, or even anybody that wanted to criticize him in the beginning, let that shit play out. Let that shit play out, man. They know what they're doing. These people are professionals, man. You know what I'm saying? They've forgotten more about wrestling than we'll ever know. So that's that.
Yeah, I think once he started developing this new heel character and didn't rely on the old catchphrases and did all these promos on social media and everything, I think this is the best work he's ever done. And I've always thought he was a good in-ring performer. We have a podcast with me saying I think he's been overrated as a talker in the past, but very, very underrated as an in-ring performer. So I think this is the best work he's ever done. I thought this match was, masterpiece is a perfect word. It was absolutely, I don't know what it could have done better. I was glued to every second.
Listen, certainly it lived up to its billing as the most historic tag team main event ever in WrestleMania history, which again leads us to Sunday night, guys. And it kicked off with an amazing Philadelphia street fight, and great to see Bubba Ray Dudley, Hall of Famer Bubba Ray Dudley, be a special referee.
No,
for intents and purposes, just a guy to count the phone.
Drew and Seth opened the show.
I'm sorry, my bad. The reason I just brought that up is just
fucking dare you. These fucking Cubans trying to skip over Latino, like Puerto Rican victories.
Hey, listen, my people of color here, the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley took on the Final Testament. Again, it was great to see Bubba Ray.
Two more Latinos. Like, I don't know what
it was great to see Bubba Ray there, basically just for the sake of counting the ball. or accepting the submission. I mean, really in a street fight. A lot of gimmicks, which is what you expected. Nice to see Scarlett take a bump there. I thought we were going to have like a wardrobe malfunction, but we did not. Nice to see B-Fab deliver some nice hits there during the match itself. I would argue for a guy that, Paul Levesque has really tried hard with Karrion Kross for quite some time. And I don't want to get on the hate Vince bandwagon because that's not me. But I would say that Paul is really trying harder with Karrion Kross. I think there's a lot of an upside to Karrion Kross. I think this feud helped a little bit because it, helps elevate the AOP to some extent. Obviously, the Profits are still super over. Bobby Lashley is a consummate professional. That match, again, you figured it would be a clusterfuck at some point. It was. Entertaining match for sure. Good to see the Profits.
Snoop Dogg.
Good to see the Profits and Bobby Lashley go over. Well, I hate to say the word clean. I mean, is there ever a clean finish in a street fight? But it was a good win for them. Let's see if maybe this is just a closure to that. We break up these teams. They go off in different directions. Maybe the Profits challenge. Hey, listen, now that we have heel tag team champions on SmackDown, maybe the Profits go after Waller in theory. Maybe the
A-Town down.
Maybe the AOP do. Who knows? But a good street fight.
It looks like AOP is going after the NXT tag titles because they attacked Frazier and what's his face when they won them last night.
Okay. Well, again, I think a good way to hopefully close out that feud. 6 great professionals, and we'll see where they go from here.
Yeah,
Snoop Dogg.
Really loved it.
Snoop Dogg.
It was a fun match. Yes. Snoop Dogg.
I loved it. I love Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg
Oh,
on commentary. Fernando loved it.
Ferocious. The
That
fact
wasn't
that
atrocious. It's fun. It's fun.
the fact that
It's
this guy got hired,
WrestleMania.
I mean, the fact that this guy got hired by NBC. Well, they hire anybody over there that network, but to do commentary of the Olympics this summer is kind of boggles my mind. But I get it.
D-O-double-G.
I get it. You bought a lot of ads for your product, gin and juice. I get all that, but my God, he didn't bring anything to commentary.
He's not supposed to. What the fuck do you want him to be, Lord Alfred Hayes? He's fucking Snoop Dogg. You know what I'm saying? He's there to have fun. He's there to have fun. It's supposed to be fun. You know? People liked him. That's why they bought him back.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, he bought a lot of ads,
Well-
right? I mean, he bought whatever it was in terms of ad space, right, with his drink and everything. And listen, it's a guy that works, I guess, for that audience. But I wasn't really.
Dude, it works out. WWE always wins. They allowed his shitty cousin to go over to AEW, and then they kept him.
It's all right. We get it, Fern. You're old. It's fine.
No, it's not that I'm old. I just don't care for Snoop Dogg, and now I have to listen to his monotone voice during the Olympics. I mean, Jesus.
Shizzle my fizzle.
You got to respect Snoop Dogg. He's 1-0 at WrestleMania. He beat The Miz.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And oh my God, Shane.
Impromptu match, by the
That
way.
debacle with Shane, yeah. But to
Talk about pro.
Mach did say correctly, kicking off WrestleMania Night 2 was Seth Rollins going up against Drew McIntyre. Great entrance to Drew McIntyre. A little homage, if you remember, to WrestleMania 1 with Roddy Piper, with
Yes.
Bye Bonnie, with the great rendition of Bye Bonnie, Bye Lassie, Bonnie's coming home to me, as they say. There with the bagpipes, obviously. I don't know what the fuck Seth Rollins was coming out with. I don't know who the fuck that Lollipop Guild was.
It's
Oh my God,
some
it was
Philadelphia,
awesome.
some local Philadelphia group that that's what they do for like New Year's.
Well,
They have a fucking parade like that. So it's local to Philly. It made sense.
They can stay in that cesspool. That's cool. Certainly a good match. I think the crowd was hot to start off the night.
Oh,
Obviously,
yeah.
CM Punk coming out to the commentary desk. Obviously, that got the crowd really jacked early with his music coming out. A match that it was kind of interesting, I think. And for you guys as workers, is it more the case of like you see so many false finishes that it could kind of drag the match out, or was it just enough to keep the intrigue going? Because they got to a point where, like, wait a second, how many claymores does Rollins have to take
Well,
to go over?
my honest opinion of this is I feel like with new information, my opinion evolves. And I hate this when I watch like the indie show do it on Wednesday nights because I just don't think they do it correctly. But when I watch Drew and Seth do the false finishes over and over, it just made me think this is just the era we're in, where finishers don't matter as much as they used to. You know, like they matter for like the end of the match, but during the match, it doesn't matter if it's hit. You know, and him starting off with the Claymore, I thought we were going to get I thought he was going to beat the Bryan and Sheamus record.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, is that what we're doing here? And I really enjoyed it. I thought this match was good. I thought it was fun. It kind of brought me back, and I kind of enjoyed it. And I don't know, because this is all about throwing back. I didn't know if Drew had asked, like, or maybe they helped produce the match, and he wanted to kind of replicate his match with Lesnar. Because if you go back and you watch that match during COVID, it was just a bunch of German suplexes, F5s, and Claymores. Like, that's what it was. So I'm wondering if maybe he's just like, man, I really wanted to have that match in front of a live audience. Like, let's do a couple of these spots here. It worked really well. And I hate to say this, as much as I enjoyed this match, I don't think the story was about this match. I think the story was about what happened after.
Yeah, certainly. And once Drew McIntyre delivered, I think maybe the 7th Claymore, of the match, if I'm not mistaken. He got the win. It was an emotional moment for him to win a championship in front of a crowd. That's really what had been lacking for him in recent years, going back to that iconic moment of eliminating Lesnar at the Royal Rumble in January of 2020. And then the world shut down. And then we had the first ever 2-night WrestleMania at the Performance Center, where he got to beat Lesnar, but with no fans. And I think there was a sort of a deflating moment for him. I think there were other moments when he was in the title picture, did not win. He was a hell of a champion during the Thunderdome era in, those classic matches with Orton and others. His reign lasted about 5 minutes until obviously he went to ringside, started talking smack to CM Punk. You started seeing a little bit of a buildup, and Punk took him out with his good arm, took off his brace, tripped him first, obviously took his legs from under him, beat him down. And as soon as you hear the Judgment Day music and you see Damian Priest running down with a briefcase, I remember everybody here at the Uribe compound looked at each other like, oh shit, they're finally pulling the trigger with this guy. Let's see is it one of those failed cash-ins, or does he cash in? And I got to tell you, as much as the crowd popped for Drew McIntyre winning in front of fans, I got to tell you, again, I'm not sure what night you were there for, but from people that were there night 2, okay, night 1, friends of mine that went there for night 2 told me that building.
Why you got to be a dick for? Why you got to bring it up?
No, I'm just asking. Huh? That building went berserk for Priest cashing in. And I got to tell you, I think it was a great feel-good moment for a guy that, as we've gotten to know over the last 96 hours, a great rags to riches story. And only since Pedro Morales, only the 2nd world heavyweight champion of Puerto Rican descent in WWF/WWE history.
New Eurekan, baby. New Eurekan, too, on top of it all.
I made a video about this yesterday. Lince Dorado, Savio Vega, Karrion Kross, Carlitos Colon, Damian Priest. All of these guys are Puerto Rican stars. They're all Puerto Rican wrestlers that have wrestled for WWE. At no point did any of the 4 of us here, at no point did anybody think one of these guys was going to be World Heavyweight Champion or WWE Champion. I always wanted it to happen, but I'm 39. Pedro Morales, that shit happened before, like 11 years before I was born, right? I never thought I was going to see that shit happen. I got to watch that. I got to see that happen. I'll never forget that. I know it's a little prisoner of the moment and it's a lot of hyperbole. I can't think of a WrestleMania moment that will ever mean more to me than watching one of my fellow countrymen win. And the crowd, like they popped. I don't think it was about the cash in. There was this false narrative on the internet that nobody wanted him to win. That it was like, oh, he's going to be just like Baron Corbin. Bro, no. He grew up 20 minutes outside of Philly. that was like a hometown cash in for him. Like,
I thought he was from New York.
Yes. That's what he said on the bump. He said he was 20 minutes away from Philly. That's where he lived. Yeah.
Yes.
But
he would go
I don't
to
know,
the
man.
stadium often with his father to
Yes.
watch Yankee games because thankfully he was a Yankee fan, not a Phillies fan.
Oh yeah, he's a diehard Yankee fan. He tweets about them a lot too.
Yeah,
but
and obviously,
yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. It's special. It's exciting, and to watch him celebrate the next night. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. I was waiting for the Judgment Day to turn on. I was like, here we go. But it didn't happen. As soon as I saw R-Truth in there, I was like, oh, nice. Okay, we're going back to the comedy thing. That's all good. But it was a special moment. Very exciting. Can't say enough about it, man. What do you think, Pat? You're Puerto Rican.
For me, I'm first off, the way the match was put together, you could kind of see that they wanted to make both guys look strong. They wanted to make Seth look strong in defeat. They wanted to make Seth look courageous in defeat. But his injuries, everything catches up with him, and Drew capitalizes. And Drew's just more underhanded, more cunning. Seth looks amazing in defeat, doesn't lose a thing at all. Looked great the next night, looked super heroic with the fucked up eye and everything. The shot of him crying, looking at Drew, him saying, "You fucking deserve this," like really nice, engaging, emotional stuff. And then just Drew, man. What can we say about Drew McIntyre, bro? He's upped his game so much. I mean, this is a guy that very talented, you know what I mean? Had the skills to pay the bills, as they say. And he was just missing that thing, like that connection, that it factor thing where you want to tune in and you want to see him. That thing where he's piquing your interest. And I think this Punk injury thing, the way he's leaned into it, the way Punk's worked with him, I think it's been fantastic. And just all the little details, him giving it to his wife. And then just the slow turn of his eyes, and then the shot of him and Punk. I mean, everything about this is just perfection, man. It really is. The way they put it together, the way it's produced, the way the audience sees exactly what they fucking need to see to get their point across. And then Punk getting involved, big pop for him. The cash in, Punk laughing at Drew in the ring. That story continuing. And then Priest with the cash in. I was under the impression it wasn't going to happen. Obviously, big pop here at the Rivera household for that.
He blew a kiss to my wife.
Yeah, the Punk blowing a kiss thing, that was just great.
Yeah.
And then him turning into the happy expression of seeing Priest, or the shocked soon to be happy expression of him seeing Priest cashing in. All of it was just produced so perfectly. I mean, and these are just professionals, man, in the peak of their powers, doing their fucking thing. Wonderful fucking moment. So glad to see a Puerto Rican doing their thing, getting a chance, seeing another Latino getting their chance. Always awesome to see different people in there, different people in the mix. And yeah, man, cool moment, man. Really cool moment, I'd say, for us Ricans.
Yeah. I think the match, as far as the finishers go, I think it was structured the way it was. Maybe got a lot to do with Seth having how long was the match the night before? 45 minutes, an hour?
Yeah. 40 and change.
So to make it look exciting, but also maybe he didn't have to do as much, because I think he is definitely dealing with some injuries. Really happy for Drew, and then really sad for Drew, but really happy for Damian. But I think my favorite thing about the initial match is when Drew went over and took his wife's phone, he tweeted.
Yeah.
That's right. Bored at work.
Yeah.
He's bored at work, and then a couple hours later, he tweeted "fuck."
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Listen, a historic day. We're gonna find out exactly about Damian Priest. I agree with Mach completely. I think that there's not gonna be a transitional champion. I think that once again, Damian Priest checks off a lot of boxes. He can talk. He looks assertive as the leader of the Judgment Day. He looks like a champion. And we're going to find out in the coming weeks and months ahead who's going to challenge him for the title. Obviously, we know that Jey Uso will be challenging him next week, I think, right? Or is it at Backlash in France? I'm not sure. But
They don't know
certainly, but certainly,
Just him, Oos.
okay, certainly Damian Priest, again, a guy you want to look out for. And again, if he remains healthy, could continue to be that prominent figure on Monday Night Raw. Let's see. Guys, in another title match during the evening, Logan Paul would defend the coveted United States Heavyweight Championship against challengers Randy Orton and Kevin Owens in a triple threat match. I got to tell you, I'm not sure if, the golf cart thing in the beginning was necessary. I get, the optic of it. It was a good way for them to enter united together against Logan Paul. Again, a good match in what you're seeing in Logan Paul in what maybe not even 10 professional wrestling matches. I mean, you're seeing Logan Paul really picking this up, being a good talker, a good heel, continually getting better. I could do without that guy in the sports drink suit. I did kind of like that kick by Randy. It looked kind of stiff. I was like, oh wow, that's kind of interesting. I could do without that clown, but I get why it's a part of the gimmick and the presentation. But I didn't think Randy would take the pin. I figured, if someone's going to lose here, it's going to be Kevin Owens. Doesn't kill Kevin Owens. Once again, Logan Paul being out sick. A great match overall for the coveted United States Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say. Logan Paul shouldn't surprise you anymore. He is good. Yeah. It's that simple. Like, if you don't like him, well, guess what? You're not supposed to. Yeah. If you wanted to lose the United States Championship, well, guess what? You're supposed to. You're not supposed to like his.
He's a
we're
pro.
Talking about just straight professional wrestling here. Yeah, I mean this is what he does. He represents the company well. He obviously he is moving towards becoming a billionaire with Prime, and yeah, I mean he's a good representative of the company. And whoever he drops that championship to, he's going to make.
Yeah. Couple things in the pre-match when KO was when Sammy was waiting there for KO, someone texted me and said are they going to do WrestleMania 20? And it's like, no, they can't. They can't do that ever again. But when Logan Paul was introduced, a great match by the way. When Logan Paul was introduced, my stepdad looked at me and said, "He's from Puerto Rico," and I said, "You can't say that." And explained the whole thing. I was like, definitely don't say that to someone from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Macho, he's from Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely moved over there. He lives over there. He trains over there. So does his brother. So it's just one of those things, man. I mean, a lot of Americans. Yeah, a lot of Americans move over to Puerto Rico. They buy a lot of.
It's America.
Stuff.
Yeah, people exploit Puerto Rico and the Puerto Rican people. Yeah, whatever. We're used to it. That's fucking old news.
But yeah, I mean, the match itself was fine. I didn't really have any gripes with it. I think we all predicted Logan was going to win this match. We didn't think he was going to drop the title, so I don't think it was a surprise when he won. Yeah, I was a little shocked that they swerved us with the Sami Zayn thing before Kevin Owens' entrance. That made me kind of think like, oh, are we going to get a feel-good moment here? Are we going to get like a Zack Ryder moment? But man, that's a great point. If whoever said that to you, Tyler, because that would have been awesome.
I just don't think they're ever going to do something like that.
But that would have been great to like take that away. So it's like, okay, this is when you think about it. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, listen, definitely a great title match. And again, the sky's the limit for Logan Paul.
I thought it was good. Fernando, getting back to the cart thing you mentioned, right? That you weren't too fond of the two faces going down on the cart together. I think they're doing that because they're going to make them a tag team. And I think they're going to end up challenging Theory and Waller. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of tie-in in there. And maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I could just see them doing something like that. Yeah. RK Owens. I don't know. Yeah, there you go. That's the T-shirt right there. Hello, Timothy Brown. The guy in the bottle, that's his shtick. And
Yeah.
every time it's a guy in a bottle, it's a YouTube influencer.
Yeah.
So this time it was I Show Speed. And I Show Speed's like this, this idiot who just gets invited places and speaks to coaches like a moron. Legendary coaches, and speaks to them like morons, and is a huge Ronaldo fanboy and all this other shit. So I kind of enjoyed like him getting RKO'd. I thought that was great. I thought that was worth the pop.
No,
And I only know who I Show Speed is because my kid watches him.
Listen, I wouldn't know I Show Speed from Speed the movie with Keanu Reeves, so go figure it out.
Whoa,
No,
you
we get
know.
it. Fern, we get it. You're old.
Pop quiz, hot shot. Pop quiz, hot shot.
We get it, man.
In one of the other feel-good moments of the night, LA Knight took on AJ Styles. Not a fan of AJ's theme music.
I am. I liked
Great
it.
pop. Great pop for the crowd when LA Knight came out. I think the crowd was fire there. Good match, I thought, for what it was. I thought there was a moment because of LA Knight getting the upper hand on AJ for so many weeks. I said, yeah, AJ's going to win this. That sucks. But
No.
once Knight got the pin and, clean finish, smooth execution there of the finisher, blunt force trauma. Good pop for him. Good win for LA Knight, getting a WrestleMania moment. We'll see what Paul does with LA Knight moving forward. Not sure if this feud is done because you could tell they have great chemistry. They work well together. Again, AJ Styles looking like Randy Savage, God rest his soul, in the 2002 Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire with that physique. But a good match overall. Again, no complaints about that. Happy to see LA Knight get the win.
I like this match. I enjoyed this match. I really enjoyed the crowd. Every time LA Knight, it just made me feel like I was a little kid again watching wrestling. Every time LA Knight hit AJ Styles, the crowd would chant, yeah. Like it was like watching wrestling in the 90s. It was like, holy shit. Like Philly understood. Philly was like, okay, we're gonna play the role. It's just like when Austin's out there, you do what? When Brian's out there, you do yeah or yes. That's what the crowd, that was their objective. They did a really good job, and I enjoyed the match. I think AJ Styles can make my psychotic Black Cat Violet look like she is the second coming of Ahmed Johnson. But, so I'm not going to sit here and say that.
Wait, is that a good thing?
Well, Ahmed Johnson wasn't so bad. And then,
It's fine.
maybe I should have used somebody else like Coco Beware or something. Who knows? But listen, I don't know. I thought the match was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I think I said that to you guys right away. Like, during the match, I was like, "This is a good match."
Yeah, you texted me that. I also thought it was a pretty good match, and it served its purpose, and it was fun, and I thought they had a good match, better than I expected.
It was decent.
Yeah,
it was decent.
I like it.
No, definitely a good match and a good feel-good moment for LA Knight as a guy who's at 40. Not sure how many more years he has left, but a good WrestleMania moment for LA Knight for sure. And we'll see moving forward whether he challenges Logan Paul for the coveted United States Heavyweight Championship or he'll feud with somebody else. We'll see. Obviously, he's one of the SmackDown superstars there. For the coveted WWE Women's Championship, Io Sky, the wifey, defending against the 2024 Women's Royal Rumble winner, former Damage Control teammate, Bailey. Celebrities out this weekend for WrestleMania, obviously in Philadelphia. They were highlighting a lot of celebrities during that match, with Bailey all evening long. I wasn't a particular fan of the finish. I thought it looked a little sloppy. I was hoping Io would have retained because her Damage Control teammates lost the night before. But there was a moment where you were like thinking, oh man, maybe Io's going to retain here. But not the case. Bailey went over. Again, not the smoothest, most fluid finish there. I'm not very pleased with it. We'll see what happens.
How so?
Well, it just didn't look fluid. It just looked a little
She took 3 maneuvers before she took the rose plant. And when she took the rose plant, she spiked herself on her head and flipped over. That's the photo of the weekend right there.
Hey, Bailey, I want to know, would you be my girl?
Zoom in on that. Let's zoom in on that. It's my last episode.
We'll zoom in on her face. The ass is fine, but yeah.
Zoom in on her face.
That.
She's beautiful.
I like that photo. I like the one where she's got her tongue sticking out there. That's a good one.
No. The green dress. Come on. Just the green dress.
Oh, she's got an NWO shirt on?
Whatever, but she got the green dress on there. But that we can't zoom in on that. Come on, it's my last episode.
I know, right? Let's
Come
see,
on,
baby.
Fuck you, Dave. Come on,
Come
man.
on, D. Give him the butterface there. One last episode.
Butterface.
She's not
The
pretty.
fuck? What are
She's
you
not.
talking
She's not
about?
pretty. She's not pretty to you. She's not pretty to you.
Oh,
She looks pretty there, bro. She looks pretty there.
oh yeah.
Pretty.
She looks pretty, and she looks pretty voluptuous too,
Well, culito ese, that's fine. I'll give you that. Sure.
bro. Everything. She looks beautiful there. She looks beautiful. She's beautiful.
Yo le lambo el culito. Eso lo lambo.
All right, man. Jesus.
Calm down.
But what were we talking? Oh, the match. Okay.
Yeah.
So the finish. I mean,
Oh,
bro, she took a fucking what? An elbow drop. She took the Saito suplex, the fucking elbow drop, and then she took a rose plant. And then when Io took the rose plant, she like planted herself on her head and went over. On first viewing, I understand, but when you watch it back, you're like, oh shit, that was actually really cool. Because with the psychology of the finish, it really made sense. And Io bumped it like she was just like beat, like she was done, you know? I thought it was a great fucking match. The crowd was into it. Both women are over. Both women are beautiful. Fucking A. Pro wrestling wins again.
No, listen, a good win, obviously a feel-good story, being betrayed by her damage control teammates, getting the ultimate revenge, winning at WrestleMania against Io Sky. Let's see where they go with this, especially with Io Sky, because, you know, there are moments when a champion's been, you know, obviously held the title for that long, as she did, where she goes from here. Obviously, we'll perhaps see a rematch in France, maybe, during Backlash between the two.
Oui.
But I doubt that the ongoing conflict between Damage Control and Bailey, I think, is far from over. We'll find out. We'll see. So again, a lot of celebrities rejoiced seeing Bailey win, as you saw at ringside there for sure.
What, George Kittle?
Yeah, I mean that's the closest he'll ever get to look at a world title. Clearly, I mean anytime soon, you know, George Kittle.
Whoa.
So it was
how about you get to the game? No,
yeah. I mean, we'll see. You know? But yeah, it's the closest. You know, nice to be near a world title for him.
Yeah. Fernando Jordan loves us high.
Yeah, that's
cool.
cool.
That's right. We got a Packer fan too.
I mean, hopefully he doesn't get detained in Philly. I'm sorry, in Brazil come September there with the opening day there against the Eagles. We'll see.
Well, he definitely won't get knocked out in the parking lot.
What's that?
He won't get knocked out in the parking lot like your quarterback did.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, moving on to the main event there.
Can I go? Can I say something?
Sure.
I thought this was the best wrestling match of night two, personally.
Really?
Yeah, I really did. I thought they had a great match.
Nice.
Well exceeded expectations.
That's what Bailey does, bro. Ese culito. I don't even.
My God.
Yeah.
You know what? Tyler's onto something. Actually, very good. You know what? Yeah, definitely a very good wrestling match until we get to the main event, and I think that was another exceptional wrestling match for different reasons. A lot of storytelling in it, as Roman Reigns, with his historic reign of 1,370 days, would take on the back-to-back men's Royal Rumble winner, the American Nightmare. And again, guys, as the resident Roman Reigns mark, once I saw Cody take the clean pin from The Rock the night before, I said, yeah, there's no way Cody's losing Sunday. Come hell or high water, whatever Avengers simulation endgame we were going to see in the main event, I felt Cody was going to win at some point. Great match. Great psychology right from the beginning. Love the entrances. Love Roman coming out to the Philadelphia Harmonic Orchestra. Again, great optics for two guys. The crowd was hot. Once again, another MVP of the weekend, Samantha Irvin, back-to-back nights as the ring announcer. Nothing against the SmackDown guy. I don't even remember what his name is. But I got to tell you, Samantha Irvin.
Pendejo, that's his name. Pendejo, that's his name.
What's that?
His name's Pendejo.
Okay, I mean,
no. It's Kurt Pervin.
Listen,
Pervin.
A great voice, great dresser, awesome.
Kurt Cobain?
But Samantha Irvin, without question, another MVP of the weekend for sure. With her
100%.
With her introductions, I think her voice is amazing. She could very well be this generation's Michael Buffer. And I'm not even being hyperbolic here. It's like great psychology into the match. A lot of false finishes. Once you started seeing Jimmy and Jay, said, "Okay, let's get the popcorn ready. Let's see Avengers Endgame materialize before our very eyes." And short of Steve Austin maybe not reaching agreement with Paul Levesque and Nick Khan to appear, I think every single run-in was significant because of history with the Bloodline, history with Roman Reigns. I think it was not the most overbooked main event ever in history of WrestleMania. No. But that 5-6 minute sequence was entertaining. It was nostalgic for a lot of us that loved the Attitude Era, that loved the flashback to 2012 in Miami between The Rock and Cena. Jimmy and Jay going off the stage in a Darby Allin-esque, spear on top of tables. Entertaining. Technology when Seth Rollins came in with the Shield music, and there was a moment when Reigns had a chair in his hand. He could have hit Cody, but 10 years after that betrayal by Seth Rollins, great psychology, great storytelling, choosing to nail Rollins when he could have nailed Cody, clearly cost him the match. And when you saw Cody Rhodes hit that third crossroads, you could tell that building was ready to explode. And you could hear Michael Cole's iconic call, finished the story. That building went absolutely bananas. I love the really organic moment in the ring. It reminds you of 30 years ago with Bret Hart being victorious against fellow Bloodline member of the family, Yokozuna, in a back-to-back Mania main event. And
Who is Roman's favorite wrestler.
Yeah, and seeing all the baby faces salute Cody, seeing obviously Cody.
What the fuck was LA Knight doing out there?
Well, he was a baby face. He was one of the baby faces that was there night two. Again, obviously affected by the bloodline, right? And in those rivalries and everything. And it was just great. Again, it made you, having been there for Brett 30 years ago, it just reminded me of how special that moment is. And obviously it's a new era. It's the Paul Levesque era, as Stephanie McMahon said at the beginning of night two. And it's a great way to sort of culminate almost a 3-year journey for Cody Rhodes from being undesirable to undeniable and now to undisputed.
Yeah, I love this. I thought this was one of the best main events I've ever seen. Mania-wise, the last 5 minutes I thought were pretty. I didn't think it was overbooked. I really enjoyed it. I am a very big Roman Reigns fan. I didn't want it to lose, but I knew it was going to happen. I just knew beforehand. That's what we did our prediction show. I went with Cody because I just knew that's what was going to happen. The one thing I'll say is I loved that everything made sense. Every single thing. Maybe not the fact that Jimmy and Jay had a better spot than they did a match night one, but what I will say is the Shield music, the riot gear, like Roman seeing that, and then him saying how much, we've seen it in their feud, how much he hates Seth Rollins for breaking up the group. That's the story that we got. And that he hated Seth so much that he was willing to sacrifice his legacy or his championship reign because he had to return the favor with. And this is the second time where Seth has cost him a match. If you remember correctly, he choked him out with the guillotine and lost to Seth Rollins by disqualification. Seth has gotten under Roman's skin. And as Seth Rollins said, and I know a lot of people disagreed, and they said, oh, Seth's going to turn on Cody. I think Pat was the only one that said he's not going to do it. He really was Cody's shield. He said, I'm your shield, and he was. So I love that. I felt like the two of these guys are great, and I loved what Cody said on Monday. Look at Roman Reigns. This dude gets in the best shape of his life to go out there because he looked fucking yoked. He looked amazing. You know? So I really enjoyed that. But Tyler, you're the big Cody fan. Why don't you why don't you let us know how you feel?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on there. And it's exciting, and then no, actually, not until
Are you gonna do it?
I don't need it.
Okay, all right.
Not until he hugged little Brody.
Oh.
Because I mean, if you know the story, you know the story. Yeah. But it's just I was happy to see him win, and I was happy that I don't know. It just seemed perfect, to be honest.
Great ending.
He was, and I mean, like and you've been critical of some of his promos. If you would see
Stone Cold,
if we could see the Cody Rhodes that we saw in the press conference afterwards, if that would be the guy that would go out there and talk, the sky is the limit.
We saw it on Monday. When the Monday Night Raw Cody, that was a different Cody than we had been seeing for weeks leading up to WrestleMania. Like that Cody felt like almost like he got like Steve Young said, somebody get the monkey off my back. He got it, and now it's great. The MVP of the match for me, though, I don't give a fuck what nobody says, was Brandy Rhodes. Give me more Brandy. Give me more Brandy. Put Brandy up on the screen. Come on, it's Pat's last day. Let's see Brandy Rhodes right there. And I need that mask. I want that mask. That's cool. I'm gonna put that mask right there, right next to the Puerto Rican flag. That American Nightmare mask. That shit was so cool, and it was designed by what the person who designed the Bray Wyatt stuff. That's pretty cool. I'm not being like sarcastic. I really like the mask. I feel like you guys are expecting me to say something stupid. No. Pat, you're muted.
It looked very cool, honestly. I thought the whole match was excellent. I thought the entrance was great. Everything was great. You know, and by the way, two guys had special entrances. They got played out. So one lost, one won. But you know,
I'm distracted.
This is how you pay off. You know, almost 4 years of fucking storyline. This is how you do it. This is how you make it fucking happen. You know, and for me, I just feel like this was executed perfectly. Everybody involved. You know, the Uso brothers, John Cena taking out fucking Solo. You know, fucking Rocky coming out, confronted Cena, Taker coming out, you know, the conscience of the WWE, choke slamming The Rock. And, you know, Seth, the whole Seth thing, man, like that. Yeah. Roman can't let go of that betrayal. Yeah. Roman can't let go of that. That betrayal hurts him more than fucking anything. So he had the choice to take out Seth or take out Cody and retain the title, and he took out Seth because of his anger. And just the way they executed this, the facial expressions, the mannerisms, the selling. I mean, this is fucking top level stuff, man. And the payoff was fucking exactly what it should have been. It was magical. And again, every 10th WrestleMania, right? For out of the last 4, right? You know, it's the 10, the 20, the 30, the 40. They're all happy babyface moments if you think about it, right? All happy babyface moments. WrestleMania 10, Bret Hart. WrestleMania 20, Eddie and Benoit hugging. WrestleMania 30, Bryan Danielson. WrestleMania 40, Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
It was perfect. And you know, I think looking back at the fucking greatness we saw from this angle, from the performers that it involved, I mean, this was phenomenal, and the payoff was great. The payoff was exactly what it needed to be, and it went to the right guy. Now, the question is, what will Cody Rhodes do as the top guy? What will Cody Rhodes do as the world champion?
Well,
You know
Pat,
what I mean?
I love that you said that because you are very big on metrics. You're very big on ratings. And if I could just be your rebate for a quick second, if you'll allow me, Fernando. Cody Rhodes sold $1 million worth of merchandise WrestleMania weekend. Cody Rhodes on Monday Night Raw had the highest rated segment with 2.3 million viewers during his segment alone. So for the people that don't think that Cody is the guy, I'm sorry. Like, you're going to have to come to the realization, like a lot of people like Tyler had to come to the realization that Roman was the guy, and he has passed the torch, and Cody's that dude, man. He's
Cody,
the future.
Cody, yes, Cody can be the guy, right? But now everything is on Cody drawing it. It's no longer Roman Reigns showing up in a fucking attraction spot to be the champion, to come in, to make towns, and to make fucking money. It's no longer that. This is Cody Rhodes now. And I think that's why they invested so much time courting the fan base, building him up to this point, and creating this you know, amazing fucking moment for him. But being a champion, being that top guy, being in that position, that's a different story. Now we're really going to see, is the Cody thing really, you know, long-standing? You know, I mean, selling out your merch at WrestleMania, doing all this stuff, if you're a top guy, that's expected. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just curious to see. I don't doubt Cody. I think he's phenomenal. But I just want to see how this pans out with him as champion. That's all.
And Pat, to your point, again, we've had moments where, for one reason or another, either injury, sometimes maybe the crowd fizzling out with the person. I don't see that with Cody. You know, in the last decade or so, we've had people, you know, the chase. And then when they finally get the title, I mean, forget about Austin. Austin is an anomaly to himself about you could be chasing, and the fans never, and even when he got the title back, fans are still solidly behind him. We've had some instances where there's been a chase and then it fizzles up for whatever reason. Justly, whatever the case may be. I don't see that with Cody Rhodes right now. Again, to Mach's point, and beautifully said, again, the $1 million of merch sold, the metrics, the ratings, you know, again, and not to pick on Tyler here or to pick on Tony Khan, even though I like to pick on the Snowman. But, you know, a guy who Tony said, hey, I'm not going to re-sign you at the dollar amount that I initially signed you with. And
standing ovation.
And again, yes, you helped create this company. Yes, Roman's back to work. Thank goodness. You know, him along with Kenny and Matt,
baby.
You know, decided to start a wrestling company in 2019. And that's great. And for whatever reason, Tony Khan felt that, hey, to be fair, in his eyes, the bloom fell off that rose when it came to Cody Rhodes. He kind of he said, hey, I'm going to hitch my wagon to Matt and Nick Jackson and Kenny Omega. Cody, if you want to stay, you can stay, but not at the dollar amount that I originally signed you for. And pretty much that's code for I just don't see the value in you that I saw 4 years ago. And that's what the code is. That's business.
I don't think that was the case though, Fern. I think with them and that situation, it was more about philosophical differences in wrestling and how they want to present wrestling. The Young Bucks want to go more with the indie style. Cody wants to do the indie style, but more old school. And I think Tony Khan taking away his EVP spot took away his influence. And I think once you took away his influence, you took away what he was going to do after. He was just left with being a wrestler. It's not enough. It's not enough. And you know you can be a big star.
But even that sounds asinine on face level, because you take away Cody's EVP status again, and you let Matt and Nick to their own devices, and we're seeing the shit that's trickling down the mountain, right? Like, we're seeing bad matches. People want to talk about the Usos and how repetitious they were. Folks, there's no more repetitious wrestlers on earth than Matt and Nick Jackson in the last 7 years. And again, we're seeing that the metrics aren't justified. Now, again, if Tony's going to live and die. He resigned them, gave him an extension to both them and Omega. He's going to live and die with Matt and Nick and Kenny. That is proving to be the losing proposition here. Cody left, bettered himself, and the rest is history. And it's hard to argue the fact that, Tony picked the wrong horse here. He did. There's no way, not a single metric contradicts me, not a single gate contradicts me, not any variable that, if you're being intellectually honest, contradicts me. And I think that, listen, Tony will never admit it. Cody will never admit it. But Tony picked the wrong horse, and it shows he's going to live and die with the Buckaroos and Olivier and Twinkle Toes, and Paul, TKO, and Nick Khan are going to flourish with Cody Rhodes.
Tonight proves what you said. Tonight proves what you said. They showed the footage. And do you know what was one of the most shared videos on the internet when they showed the footage? The crowd at Dynamite chanting CM Punk. That video was supposed to be in. What did Brian Alvarez say? Today, his video circulated. He said, "This is to embarrass CM Punk."
I tell no lies.
And it did the opposite. What it did,
the crowd in their own arena was chanting for him.
What it did was vindicate him, because he didn't lie during the
Ariel Helwani. No, Ariel Helwani showed the clip. He showed the video. He tweeted it. He showed the video of the CCTV footage and Punk doing the play-by-play. He didn't lie.
Yeah.
And what the fuck?
Yeah. And again, I think going back to Cody and what he represents, Cody bettered himself. Again, not to rehash the documentary, which is really great on Peacock.
Yeah,
but, this McMahon felt, hey, he saw something Cody too. Flew to his house, convinced him to come aboard. Obviously, I don't know what the dollar amount was. I know he signed a new deal, but the bottom line is that clearly Cody was the right guy to get behind. And Tony Khan didn't know how to book him. Paul Levesque does. I mean, there's no way to argue it. And now we're going to move forward with the very first Cuban American WWE champion, which I'm really proud of, by the way. Woo! Woo! Dale. And
there's your Cody Rhodes gear.
What's that? Maybe I will. What I would say though, it's hard to deny that Khan picked the wrong horse. And again, lucky for him, he has money. He's not going under, but he picked the wrong horse. He kept three horses that, let's be honest, it's at some point you have to take him out back and put a slug in.
Well, I can't wait to.
He'll never run out of money because he doesn't have to pay rent. He's living rent free in your head. You somehow managed to make this about Tony Khan.
Acknowledge me.
But Cody, I mean, here's a guy who has always bet on himself. He left WWE. He said, "No, this is not good enough for me." He went out there and made himself a star, made himself a bigger star. Eventually came back, and now he's one of the biggest stars in the business. So good for him.
Yeah.
Tyler, he's the biggest star in the business, Tyler. He's the biggest star.
He's the biggest.
Let's be honest.
I don't know who lives more rent free in some else's head. If it's Tony Khan in Uribe's head or CM Punk in Tony Khan's head. So I don't know what's worse.
That's true.
Because like it's pretty bad. Though what I will say is that I'm gonna have to go heel here. I agree with everything Uribe said. I think Tony Khan's a buffoon.
Macho tells
I
me.
think
There's no denying that.
He's a buffoon. And I think just like we've seen in the past, I think eventually his dad's gonna be like, dude, I'm done. I'm not footing the bill anymore. And that's what's gonna happen. And all of those wrestlers that have signed guaranteed contracts, they're gonna have their money because it's guaranteed, but they're gonna be out. They're not gonna have a place to go. I mean, this guy. I don't know, man.
Well, I would argue this. It's not about Tony Khan living rent free in my head. It's that it's comical that a billionaire, and again, I don't have an MBA, but I know enough about business, having taken business courses. And it's funny because I didn't graduate with a business degree. He did from Illinois. And you would think that he would be able to run a company. Again, it's not like this is Vince McMahon who had to scrape together money to make sure he bought the company out from his father and then decided to go national and bet on himself on March 31st, 1985 at Wrestlemania Madison Square Garden. I mean, there's a big difference when you're born on third base and you have a clear distinct advantage and you're still finding ways to fuck it up. Again, it's not about living rent-free in my head. I would just say again, I like comedy, but there's no way to argue that it's not comical that as a pro wrestling fan, that the competition to WWE, first of all, it's not even competition. The alternative to WWE isn't even good professional wrestling. It's garbage wrestling. And a guy...
To you.
You didn't say that. You didn't say
Tyler.
that.
Wait, repeat.
It's meant for a niche audience.
Tyler, let's be intellectually honest here. It's okay if you don't like the garbage term, I fight, but it's indie wrestling. It's indie wrestling.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Okay. Now, you may not like the trashy or garbage adjective attachment. That's fine. We can debate that. But it's indie wrestling. It's on a national network, and it's indie wrestling. That's embarrassing. If you're trying to be competition to WWE, you can't be indie wrestling. You have to be.
Man, you
Why
know
do they
that
have to be
AEW.
competition? First of all,
Everything's
If
competition.
AEW fans had the same amount of fire that Tyler has every time he defends that company, they'd probably be actually competing with WWE. But guess what? AEW fans have the same amount of energy as the Twitter fingers that attack people for no reason at all. You know,
I just
that's what they are.
don't think they. I just think the in-ring product is the least of their concerns.
Whoa.
They got a whole lot of.
Whoa.
Tyler, Ospreay.
You could say that with a straight face after Sammy Guevara has single-handedly hurt both of the Hardy Boys.
Okay, hold on. Tyler, Takeshita and Ospreay was a spot fest. How is that good wrestling?
Jumpy.
And you're just saying one of the greatest matches you've ever seen was 20 minutes of people from 20 years ago interfering. So
Yeah, but it's the biggest
like
show
what
of
you
the
like?
year, though. That's the thing, and there was selling involved. I get what you're saying. Look, you like that style of wrestling, and in Japan and on the indies and places like that, smaller venues, that works. But if you're really trying to be an alternative to WWE, that style's just not going to get across with people. Look at the investment in that match alone. I mean, 4 years put into that match. It's insane. AEW has the right idea, but the execution is just not there. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, Tony Khan probably asked his dad for a small loan of $1 million, and his dad, gave it to him and helped him out and all that stuff. But I think the biggest difference is that Vince paid dues. Vince came in, Vince did ring crew. Vince was, handling tickets. Vince did all that stuff and sat under the learning tree of his father and sat under the learning tree of Captain Lou Albano, Freddie Blassie, guys like that, and listened and learned and eventually got to the point where he was an announcer and then he took the company from his father. So there was a gradual process of learning how to understand how to run a locker room and how to be a professional wrestling promoter. And I think that is what Tony Khan didn't have. If Tony Khan would have done what Billy Corgan did, and he would have surrounded himself with a bunch of wrestling people and would have had the money that he had, he would have a much more successful wrestling product. But the problem is that Tony Khan just wanted to do it all himself. And, it is what it is. And look, B. Arthur lives rent-free in my head, okay? If it makes you guys feel any better. But anyways.
B. Arthur is from Golden Girls?
Yes. What the fuck? What's wrong with you?
I didn't really watch that show, but was that
you didn't watch the Golden Girls?
No, I didn't.
What's wrong with you? Thank you for being a friend.
That's the shit, bro.
Is that Blanche?
Blanche was a hoe.
No, I'm saying, but B. Arthur is that
Sophie?
No, B. Arthur's Dorothy.
Yeah, she's Dorothy. Sophia's my girl, yo.
Yeah, Sophia's dope too.
Sophia's my girl, yo.
Knowledge him.
She's the best. Yo, are you serious right now, Uribe?
Can't believe you didn't watch Golden Girls.
Mira, bro.
Yo.
Mira, Mach. Tú llama cualquier trapo camisa. Okay, that's. I mean, I've gotten at least a pretty good consensus of a sample size to make that comment. Okay, and I laugh at that comment because Pat knows what I mean. Okay, so all right, that's a little phrase there. Okay, so all right,
Fernando. So Takeshita and Ospreay wasn't your style. Did you see the Takeshita Swerve match?
No, I watched it. Yeah, no, listen. The reason I watch AEW is there's a handful of people that entertain me considerably there. But no one would ever ask me, "Hey, Fernando, what are you watching on Wednesday?" The first thing I say is, "Oh, I'm watching comedy wrestling." I'm not saying I'm watching good wrestling.
That's exactly what I tell people at work. When they ask me, they're like, "Do you watch AEW?" I'm like, "Of course I watch AEW.
I watch AEW.
Why would I not watch it?
I watch MLW. I watch New Japan when possible on Thursdays.
I love MLW.
I watch AEW for the same reason that every time I get depressed, I put on my all-time favorite movie, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, because it's a raunchy comedy with my all-time favorite actor in Jim Carrey. And that's exactly what AEW is. It's a raunchy wrestling comedy with my all-time favorite wrestler, Bryan Danielson. So, I mean, that's what it is. It's fucking comedy. It's not wrestling.
But Mash, did you watch it before Dancing out there in 21 or no?
Yes, I was very excited. I liked the company when it first started going, and then I don't know what happened. They kept bringing over all these old WWE guys.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like, I watched that Adam Copeland versus Penta match tonight, and I was thinking, like, what the hell happened to Edge? What happened to one of my favorite wrestlers? What happened to the guy that we thought was the greatest Canadian wrestler ever? Pat, wasn't it you that made that statement originally? So you're telling me this takes away from his passion in the ring? He's just not a good wrestler anymore? Penta? Our San Francisco 49er, bro?
I think he's just there. They're letting him do what he wants, and maybe he's washed. How old is he? How many injuries has he had?
I tell no lie.
You can't have that triple threat main event with Roman and Bryan and tell me this man's washed. You just can't.
Yeah, but bro, that was 3 years ago.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like it, but it was.
I tell no lie.
Yeah.
So good.
I understand, and believe me, I agree. But his body has taken so much punishment.
You deserve it.
Look, this run is. I'm not enjoying this run either, but it seems to be making him happy, and I guess that's all that matters to me at this point because he's earned it.
Listen, he's earned his money.
I mean, it could be worse. He could be Chris Jericho.
Yeah, unfortunately. And
that is true.
And to Pat's point,
that's just sad.
And to Patrick's point, I wasn't aware that he was apparently going to re-sign with WWE for the original deal that they had. And I guess he wanted more, and he went to Tony Khan and he got a little bit more, but it wasn't significant. I don't know. Again, maybe D can look that up. I don't know.
Todo. A mí me gusta todo a mí. Me encanta el todo.
I missed that.
Toto?
Yeah, a mí me gusta el todo.
Toto.
That's a Puerto Rican term for vagina. D and
Joe Sabes, man.
Yeah. D knows. D's down. Tyler's down too.
I was raised in the Heights, papi.
No hablo mucho español, so.
Me gusta el Toto. El Toto de Bailey. Toto me encanta.
Todo.
But guys, a
So-
great WrestleMania weekend. Obviously, every metric, the most viewed WrestleMania replays on Peacock. To Macha's point about merch sales, I can't even imagine everybody else's merch sales. I mean, all weekend long, from NXT to the Hall of Fame to SmackDown to Paul Heyman's historic speech to the Andre the Giant Memorial Invitation over the top rope battle royal, won by Big Bronson Reed. Again, another example that, man, Paul likes his guys, and Paul's going to push his guys and girls as much as possible. We'll see. But a historic WrestleMania weekend, guys. As we're about to close up shop here for the night, it's Patrick's final work in the marks. I will. I'll go last.
Acknowledge me.
I'm going to go last year in my final thoughts about Patrick Vicente Rivera, but I'll let you guys close out the show here in terms of your thoughts about Patrick, and then I'll close it up.
You want me to go?
Patty's a swell dude.
Ferdinand Uribe.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll go last. I'll let the talent Tyler Taylor and Mach Rodriguez. They can have the floor here.
All right. So I'll be honest with you. A year ago, I didn't even like Patrick, but in the last year, I really, honestly, it's been a lot of fun working with him. I got a lot of respect for his experience and his views on wrestling, and we talk a little hockey, and he's a good dude. I was wrong.
Yeah.
Even though
In
he's
1997. In
Thank you to
1997,
Tyler.
I met this piece of shit in Mr. Hearn's classroom.
yes.
And as I walked into school rocking a mullet and a Daryl Strawberry jersey.
No, Sting t-shirt.
Well, it was one of the two, yeah. This motherfucker comes over here making fun of my tight jeans and my accent. Listen, one of the best people I've ever met in my entire life. My brother, I can't tell you how much I've learned from you. My older brother, I'm always going to remind people that you're older than me, even if it's only 4 days. I don't give a fuck. The older, yeah, man. We fell in love with wrestling together. We kind of like watched it as kids, but yeah, we fell in love with each other. Yeah, it was amazing. I wish we could have had Bernie or Sean or Jimmy on the show, but yeah, it's too bad those guys weren't able. Can't believe fucking Jimmy couldn't even watch the show. What the hell,
Jimmy
Barricado?
watches. He watches from afar. Right?
Okay, fucking Barricado, you got to get on here, you fucker. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it's been nice. I'm so thankful that you guys invited me on. I was able to make relationships thanks to you, Pat, with Fernando over there and his weird glasses, and fucking D Rotten, the producer. So thanks a lot for having us on, man. It was awesome. It's awesome to be a part of it. Sucks that you're leaving. I was hoping you were gonna wear a salmon colored jacket, so that way we could kind of see the swerve coming. But I see you got the.
He is
Somebody
wearing a
gonna get
blazer.
that ass kicked. Somebody gonna get that ass kicked.
Yeah. I was definitely looking forward to it. Yeah.
He did say he has an announcement, and he is wearing a blazer.
I'm gonna make my announcement at the end.
I get accused sometimes of not always being creative or original, but I'm going to give you a promo that's about as original and as heartfelt as it gets. So,
all right, let's go.
Good.
I've had the privilege of knowing Patrick Rivera for well over a decade, and I've had the privilege of getting to know him as a person, seeing him grow as a state employee, seeing him become an amazing father, certainly seeing him be a guy that you would admire wholeheartedly, a guy that you look at and say, hey, if I can be even maybe a quarter of the human that this guy is, with his compassion, his empathy, his understanding, then that's someone you want to grow up to be. And when I look at Patrick's children, there's no shortage of ever having a good role model, because that's their dad. And I would say that in the years I've known Patrick, a guy who is very tolerant, sometimes too tolerant for my own taste, but for a guy that is a grinder, a guy that is a worker, not just in the ring, but in life, a guy who is ambitious, a guy who has taught me the importance of being creative, like a guy who's taught me the importance of humanity and compassion, a guy who has taught me the most important lesson, I think, in life, and that's just to be you. And Patrick did that. And Patrick did that in a way that was a Patrick way. And what I can tell you, bro, for two guys that talk about as much about wrestling and sports, and we couldn't be more diametrically opposed in a lot of teams and our fandom and our politics in what we like about comic book movies, I can tell you that you're one of the more knowledgeable people that I've ever come across. You're one of the smartest people I've ever come across. And we don't always measure smart and intelligence and brilliance with 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper that hang on our walls. We measure intelligence and brilliance and just our aptitude by what we learn in life. And I can just tell you that for a guy that comes from humble beginnings, you have nothing to be humble about. You've done it your way. It's a privilege to know you. It's a privilege to have started this show with you. It's a privilege to continue being your friend. And it's more importantly, a privilege to know Patrick Rivera, the human being. Because at the end of the day, being human is all we have. I love you, Patrick. Best of luck to you.
God damn, bro. Play that shit at my funeral. Fuck. And then play Freebird right after that. That shit's fucking like, wow. God damn. Guys, thank you so much. Honestly, Tyler, thank you so much. Mach, you already know the deal. Thank you guys for coming, joining our show. Fern, you know, if you would have told me to fucking do this thing when we started out on the phone, and then, you know, D getting us to the video, D, thank you so much, you know, for everything you do. It's, you know, it's been a great journey, man. It's been a great journey. And I think this is something that I've really enjoyed from day one, whether it was coming from the other show that I was on that I wasn't feeling towards the end, where I didn't feel the dynamic was conducive for a good program. And then Fern, you know, just kind of slowly just chipping away until he finally got me to fucking go and do it. And, you know, I mean, you know, you guys, the three of y'all, I mean, you know, Mach, the way you fucking grown your stuff, the way you've been able to, you know, become such a good podcaster, interviewer, whatever it is you do, just everything you do, man, it's been great. And it's been great seeing your progress. Tyler, you're pretty damn good at what you do too, man. Just being fucking Tyler Taylor, being the fucking other voice that talks about AEW, that talks about wrestling, that talks about that other thing that we're not talking about. You know what I mean? Just having you on the program and having your opinions, I think, has been really great for the program. And Fernando, from when I first met you to when you were doing your stuff, watching you do your thing, watching you grind, watching you improve, watching you improvise, and just watching you just fucking, you know, give up everything else essentially to pursue your fucking dream. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Sacrificing so much of yourself to fucking achieve what you're achieving. And, you know, people can say whatever they want about you, what you say, what you do, but nobody can ever say that you haven't earned it and that you're not a hard worker. And I think that needs to get recognized, man. And I just thank you so much for bringing me into this show. And D, you know, thank you for fucking being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And I just think that, you know, D, like without you doing this, we probably wouldn't have gotten to the video thing. You know, these guys wouldn't have their video thing. I think we argue amongst ourselves. I think our chat gets lit because at the end of the day, we're all passionate. We're all passionate about what we love, and we're passionate about wrestling. And we wouldn't be wasting this much time on a fucking Wednesday night, to talk about wrestling if we didn't fucking love it. And I'm just grateful to be able to have this and be able to do this. And, I'm thankful that I had this experience with you guys, man, for sure.
We love you, Patrick.
Love you too, fellas. So my final, my announcement before we do this. My announcement is that I am going to finish the show. He is Tyler Taylor, the only Canadian destroyer that sells. And he is Macho Rodriguez, who's going to miss me, but he's also Boricua Nightmare. And he is the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State media, the man you love to hate. And for the last however many fucking years, I've been Patty Rican, I've been Jose Manito, I've been Jose Jimenez, I've been the Iron Man of working the marks, and it has been a pleasure to be here. And for the past 2 years, we have been working the marks. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a good night.
Famcast Media. Bitch.